to an effective 3 years in prison and 4 charges including unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition as well as attempted murder. This is in relation to a shooting incident that occurred at a residence in Hyde Park in February this year. Dimakatso Leshoro reports.
In handing down sentence, Magistrate Renir Barshoff says he took into account all relevant circumstances for both accused, including that the victim has not cooperated with the police during the investigation and has been paid 400,000 rand to withdraw the charges. Barshoff says because of this fact, the state stood no chance in getting a conviction if the matter went to trial, adding both accused had indicated from the outset their intention to plead guilty. In addition to the total 600,000 fine imposed, the court has ordered that Mugabe be deported to Zimbabwe today under police escort. Investigating officer Colonel C.P. Raj has been tasked with escorting Mugabe to OR Tambo International Airport to ensure his departure from the country. His lawyers are currently at the court to facilitate payment of the fines, coordinate his plane ticket and his escort to OR Tambo. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
Anti-illegal immigration protesters have now handed over a memorandum of demands at the Gauteng legislature. The march forms part of a broader campaign by March and March and other civic organizations, following yesterday's protest in Pretoria and other similar actions seen in parts of the country. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi was among the officials ready to receive the group's demands today. Earlier, Lesufi called on South Africans to actively participate in processes to strengthen legislation on illegal immigration. Lesufi says he shares public frustration over the issue, but insists the responsibility to address it lies largely with national government. In an interview on the Clement Manyatela show today, Lesufi warned that the situation is a ticking time bomb.
If we know whose mandate it is to deal with these issues, I think it will make it easier for people to understand how to tackle it. But if we don't understand whose mandate it is, it creates problems. Because somebody will think that is the MEC for education that is allowing people that are not supposed to be in the classroom. Or someone will think that is the MEC for health. It's not. Our hands are tied. And someone will say the Premier of Gauteng is allowing people that are not supposed to work in our schools to work in our schools. So we can't.
The city of Johannesburg says it is embarking on an ambitious plan to raise 13 billion rand to address its aging water infrastructure issue. Earlier today, the municipality unveiled a new 26 megalitre reservoir in Brixton. The municipality says this will strengthen capacity issues in the Johannesburg West area and address long-standing water issues largely caused by aging infrastructure. Tabiso Koba reports.
Like most major municipalities, the city of Johannesburg has an issue of aging infrastructure. The municipality currently replaces about 17 kilometers of its water pipes per year, which is far below the national requirement of 175 kilometers. Speaking at the launch of the Brixton Water Reservoir, Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says as the most populated city in the country, the municipality has a number of competing needs.
We have an ambitious project right now to raise about 13 billion rands with an intention to invest it in the water pipe replacement program, which will also include a sewer pipe replacement program. We are working, of course, with different financial institutions. Included is the South African Development Bank.
Morero says if the 17 billion rand is raised, the municipality will be able to replace about 2,000 kilometers of its 12,000 kilometer water pipe network. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Questions are being raised about ongoing leadership instability at NSFAS following the sudden resignation of 2 board members. Interim chairperson Mogoena Maluleke and board member Karabo Mohale recently stepped down. While Maluleke claims his decision to leave was driven by personal interests elsewhere, Mohale cites concerns over weak governance within the scheme. Trade union Nahao believes persistent systemic issues at NSFAS continue to force senior leaders out. Alfara Mushwana has more.
The current NSFAS board was appointed in February last year after the previous one was dissolved in 2024 due to serious operational failures. The new board was initially chaired by Dr. Karen Stander, who resigned 5 months ago, stating that the environment in which the board operated had become extremely toxic. Mogoena Maluleke was subsequently appointed as acting chairperson but has now left the board. NEHAWU spokesperson Lwazi Nkolonzi says there is surely something that's pushing senior NSFAS board members out.
Indeed, the resignation of people with good standing in society, particularly those who have just resigned, demonstrates the systematic and structural challenges confronting NSFAS.
Meanwhile, Higher Education Minister Bhuti Manamela has asked the two former board members to submit representations on the state of NSFAS's governance. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
And Brussels has announced the temporary relaxing of state aid rules to ease energy cost challenges for EU countries. Oil and gas prices have surged in the wake of the US-Israeli war against Iran that began in February. For example, EU countries can now give companies in farming, fishing and transport money to cover parts of the price increases for fuel or fertilizers based on actual consumption. Brussels hopes its members will help small farmers with their fuel and fertilizer costs while giving room for more aid for diesel prices to transport firms. The rules will be in place until December, but the Commission has said it will keep the measures under review. While gold is trading at $4,553.98 an ounce, the rand is at 16.64 to the dollar, 22.46 to the pound, 19.46 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $114.46 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you are coming from Winnie Mandela Drive as you enter Sandton, there's slow-moving traffic at Sandton Drive and it is due to faulty traffic lights, while in Devland, traffic remains sluggish along the Golden Highway between the N12 and the N1.
In your sport, Mamelodi Sundowns target a return to winning ways in the Bedway Premiership. Vincent Kompany promises even more in Bayern Munich's second leg UEFA Champions League semi-final against PSG. And Live Golf postpones June's New Orleans event.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Lawyers for the youngest son of late former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe are currently facilitating his release and deportation from South Africa.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 9 minutes past 3 on Wednesday, the 29th of April. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you are listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. What should we make of the sentences handed down to Bellarmine Mugabe, fined 600,000 rand and deported, and his cousin Tobias Matonodze, jailed for 3 years? Was this just the law doing what the law is supposed to do? What the law allows the magistrates in the matter to have done? Or are there other questions that need asking? More on that after 4 o'clock. Some other stories we're covering. The focus of protests against illegal immigration has shifted to Johannesburg today, with the organisation March and March organising another march, this time to the Gauteng Provincial Legislature.
And when you are in a battlefield, there is no proper plan that can prosper. But we are all in one command. And then as we are turning here this way, we are going back to the legislature, but we wanted to demonstrate that the Hebrew and Yuvel can never be owned by foreign nationals. Peacefully, we are here, and if you wanted to do any criminality, it should have happened long time ago. But as leaders, we have made sure that peace is important, because our voice can be heard through peace, but through violence, there's no sense that can be made. Here we are.
One of the organisers of the march, Ngizwe Mqunu. Mongezi Koko is there right now. He'll join us shortly with his thoughts. In South Africa, we're short of electricity, water and jobs. How alarming then that a bid to at least in part solve the jobs problem could end up making the water and power situation worse. Journalist Tony Carney has looked at how much electricity and water will be consumed by some massive new data centers planned for Cape Town. He's with us at 10 to 4. And when we think of hit tunes, popular music that we all love singing along to, we're usually thinking about songs that run around 3 minutes, maximum 4. But you know, there are some hits that just went on and on and on. Donna Summer, Love to Love You Baby. It was a long song. There are radio edits, but the original almost 17 minutes long. So the question that we're going to ask you, and we want you to think about this, particularly in the last hour of the show. What's your favorite song that runs for more than 10 minutes? There are a lot of them out there. We Googled to check. Maybe you've got a favorite that you want to share with us. Please do start sending those now if you like on 072 702 1702. On the markets, the JSE is down again today, but the losses nowhere near as dramatic as they were yesterday. All share currently down by 145 points, not much as I said, with precious metals once again under pressure. Northam Platinum stock has lost 3.6%. Implats down by 2.3%. Valterra is down by 2%. Luxury goods company Richemont down by 2.7%. On the upside, Glencore has gained 2.6%. Sasol is up by 4.8%. No real surprises on that Sasol number because the oil price is up by $4.50 today. Brent crude currently trading at $114.114. Let me just make that absolutely clear in case you collapse in a heap. $114.63 a barrel. Rand trading at 16 Rand 62 against the dollar. Pretty much the same as it was this time yesterday. A euro will cost you 19 Rand 44. 22 Rand 44 will get you a pound. Stephen Critis joining us with all the market news at 25 past 4. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. Khomotso Munyai joining us with all the latest traffic news, and Mbali Dlamini joins us at 3:30 once again with the very latest news headlines. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, you will get to hear about it here first. But with your help, of course, contact us on 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. 702 Drive, it's 14 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So, of course, we're going to be covering all the big stories today. We'll bring you the news when it breaks, but there's all sorts of other things that need talking about. I find that when you get back to work after a long weekend, the day does feel as long as a workday can possibly feel. And yeah, for many people, that involves working a familiar set of hours.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough.
Beautifully summed up there by Dolly Parton. Yeah, so working 9 to 5. Some people work longer, some people work less. But I think if we were all honest, we would acknowledge that working 9 to 5 doesn't always involve working every minute of those many hours. What would that be? 480 minutes? Scrap, take off lunch hour, 420 minutes. There must be moments at work where you make sure that you look busy, but maybe you aren't really that busy. Jonathan Fairbairn, fess up.
Yeah, look,
What do you do? What do you do to look busy?
My methods, because you sit almost directly opposite.
Yeah, but
me.
I'm not your boss.
No, but I mean,
our boss
you
is
do
on
have
leave. You're cool.
You do have the number for the red telephone for our bosses that you could phone and report me on.
Okay, yeah, I do. You're right.
You know, so
what do you do to look busy? Please answer the question, as they would say at the Madlanga Commission.
Yeah, I will always have like a document open on the computer.
Okay.
That, let's just say somebody happens to walk past our desks, and for those who don't know, we all sit in open plan. There's no cubicles. You can see right next to whoever you're sitting next to, etc., etc. So I'll have a document open there, and I also sometimes have I've got like a frown look on my face.
Yes.
And then people will say, "Hey, stop frowning." And then I'll say, "Yeah, no, I'm just reading this article, concentrating really hard on this article." So that's my go-to things. Yeah, but I was just reading some comments from Reddit where we got this, and this woman says, by the afternoon I'd get so bored I could scream. I found a busy number to call where they put you on hold forever and play nice music. So I would pretend I was on the phone with a client and call that number to listen to the music.
She's going to get caught. She's going to get caught. They're monitoring her work. They're going to check the number. They're going to call the number and say, we have a staffer here, Jonathan Fairbairn. Has he called you lately? Because I see he was on with you for 41 minutes. Did you agree on anything? Or will you be buying our product? Yeah, she's going to get caught. How about you, Khomotso Munya? I mean, obviously, when you're on the show, we are busy, but a couple tricks you can share with us. By the way, that staring into the distance with a frown on your face, you look at your screen and frown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not into the distance.
No, I look in the distance because I'm having a very deep thought.
Oh,
now you
know. Then you're not as busy as I thought you were.
I am busy. I'm just thinking very deeply, more deeply than the article
I'm going to steal
reading.
some of these.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the fast jog, definitely. I think when you're walking fast,
you look.
Oh, you must be really busy. Jeez. Okay.
Yes.
You're out of reach, clearly. I also think walking around on the phone, whether you're pretending, and you better make sure it's on silent so that it doesn't ring, okay?
Yes,
but as long as you're on the phone, people assume, oh no, I can't get a hold of that person because they must be real busy. Also, I think if you're out of sight, where people can't see you, they assume wherever you are, man, you must be, I can't even get a hold of you. Yeah. For me, that's the one.
Okay, so we can't get hold of you. If we do, we're going to have to be quick because you're moving at breakneck speed. And if you happen to have slowed down below the speed limit, we can't talk to you anyway because you're on the phone to nobody.
Yeah, I'm too fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's people listening now who really are genuinely that busy.
Yeah.
9 to 5.
Yes.
Like, what job are you in that you are really, really busy, that you won't have to use any of these methods?
Probably, yeah, that's interesting.
That's the best trick. Be busy. Keep busy. Do your work. 702 Drive, give us a call on 011 883 0702. On those days where either you don't actually have a whole lot to do, or maybe you're preoccupied with other things, or you're just plain old tired, what do you do to look busy? I bet there's some good stories out there. I suspect we might have a laugh or two. 072 702 1702. Some of you, unfortunately, are busy stuck in traffic, and that's the worst kind of pretending to be busy because, in fact, you may not be busy, but you are trapped. Hopefully, we're not at that point yet. Khomotso, is it busy yet?
Fortunately not, John. Thank you. We'll start in the east of Johannesburg. If you are in Edenvale, there are still those slight delays on the R24 West as you head towards the Kalulis interchange. And over in Devland, traffic also remains a little bit slow on the Golden Highway between the N12 and the N1, and it is due to those roadworks. Also, there are some faulty traffic lights that are slowing down traffic, including Melrose at the M1 North and Collet Drive, in Rand Park Ridge at the N1 North and Beyers Nodia, as well as in Blagari at Jan Smuts and Republic. In the city of Tshwane, also be aware of faulty traffic lights in Gasfontein at the N1 in Gasfontein, in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Fontaine, as well as in Pretoria CBD at DISCM Drive and Bloot Street. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic on your side, I hope you are not too busy to send us a voice note on 072 702 1702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, right. Let's go to the center of Johannesburg, the focal point of yet another march this week against illegal immigration and various issues surrounding that. Mongezi Koko is outside the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. A number of organizations taking part in the march that was once again organized by and I think it's fair to say led by the organization March Against March. Mongezi, a very good afternoon to you. I was keeping an eye on the TV pictures. I saw Action SA leader Herman Mashaba there. I saw Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi, if I'm not mistaken, outside the buildings. I don't know if he had anything to say or he was simply there to receive the memorandum. What can you tell us about what's played out when the march came to an end? Good afternoon to you.
And very good afternoon to you, John. Well, as the march drew to a close, this is when we saw Premier Panyaza Lesufi take to the stage or the podium, and he was met by a lot of boos, and this is upon his arrival. Now, he didn't really speak much as the crowd was not affording him that opportunity. However, he did confirm receipt of the memorandum of demands, and in confirming that, he highlighted that the provincial government would act swiftly in response to some of the grievances laid bare by March and March members alongside over 10 civic organizations, the MK Party, Action SA, and just residents who are aggrieved. Now, I must reiterate, John, that Action SA has been at the forefront of this march in conjunction with the MKP and, of course, March and March. We didn't see major disruptions today, but we did see a huge development. Now, this is where we saw over hundreds. At its height, this protest action had over 2,500 people taking part in it. And, of course, then it had to come to a close once they reached the Gauteng legislature.
Right.
But as they progressed through Newtown, where they started at Mary Fitzgerald Square, they then went through Braamfontein and deviated from the planned route, alleging that police and law enforcement were going ahead of them and alerting local businesses to shut their doors as a precautionary measure, which they didn't welcome. In fact, they say this prohibited them from effectively demonstrating. This resulted in a bit of flare-ups between law enforcement and event organizers and the organizers of the march. However, isolated incidents of verbal confrontations between those who were marching and just some of the people that they assumed to be undocumented. However, there was no violence and no looting, no destruction to property or infrastructure. It remained peaceful. They did set a 7-day deadline for a response from the Gauteng government in terms of their memorandum of demands, which the government, like I said, has said they will prioritize this and make sure that they do respond within those days. And remember, yesterday when they were in Tshwane, they also set a similar deadline, this time for the presidency. So we're yet to hear back from government in terms of how far they are in this process, but it seems to be something that is taking off.
So, Mongezi, I mean, one of the things that struck me is the prominence of March Against March in this. My understanding, it's an organization, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that has its deepest roots in KZN and particularly in Durban. A lot of the Gauteng action of this kind has been led by Operation Dudula. Were Operation Dudula involved? Because I haven't really seen their name, and in as much as I've watched some of it on television, I'm not sure I've seen their banners or T-shirts.
Dudula was indeed a part of today's operations. They didn't play a prominent role in terms of executing their mandate and what they stand for, but they are indeed a part of today's operations, also highlighting their concerns. I think the important thing for the listener to take note of is that Operation Dudula has seen a number of changes when it comes to their leadership, and this has resulted in a destabilization, essentially, of the operation and what it stands for. But what we do understand so far is that, indeed, Operation Dudula was a part of today's operations, and they were very vocal.
Thanks so much. Mongezi Koko, EWN reporter, of course, as we did with the earlier march to the Union buildings. Your views, your thoughts on the march, on the issues being raised, on the response of government to date, anything that you want to engage with on this theme. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. It's 25 minutes past 3.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, let's focus our attention now on Parliament, specifically the Portfolio Committee that looks at issues around social development. Now, the Minister, Sisisi Tolashe, and other members of the department and the ministry were supposed to be before this Parliamentary Portfolio Committee today. On the table was their annual performance plan, but invariably, given the number of issues that have been raised around questions of probity and the minister, one would have expected some MPs at least would have wanted to raise questions about this. How far did they get? Lindsay Dentlinger was there. Lindsay, a very good afternoon to you. Obviously, the minister very much in the spotlight. I think it's fair to say for all the wrong reasons. She and her supporters may well say that she has things to say in her own defence. But members of Parliament, I would assume, were keen to quiz her on that. How did that go?
Good afternoon, John. It didn't go very well. You are correct in assuming that the DA's Nazli Sharif was quick off the mark to try to raise this particular item and place it on the agenda. And interestingly, the chairperson of the committee, Bridget Masango, incidentally also from the DA, shutting her down, saying that was not the forum to deal with these many matters that are swirling around the minister, and particularly not party political matters, that the committee would only consider looking into matters that directly affect the department. And as we know, many of the allegations around the minister relate to her portfolio as the president of the ANC Women's League and other matters in her private capacity. And so Bridget Masango, the chairperson of the committee, saying she would allow the minister to come back next week and answer questions specifically only related to the portfolio, and that the committee was not the platform to ventilate other issues that are in the public domain. And Chairperson Bridget Masango also saying that the committee would not be taking what has been reported in the media as fact, and to quote her, to run with it. So a very cautious approach. As journalists, we also tried to approach the minister during the lunch break to get her view on some issues, and she was not prepared to speak to any of us.
So what then have we learnt about the Social Development Department, which has enough challenges at the best of times, I think it's fair to say, given the scale of need that they are supposed to address, surely not helped by all these distractions and issues involving the minister. But let's get back to the core business. Did we learn anything about future plans, about past achievements?
Well, so there are two annual performance plans put before this committee today, that of the department itself, and then that, obviously, of the Social Security Agency, which it oversees. And in the first part, the minister, in her, if we can call it a political overview, saying that the department has not been without its problems, but she believes that it is turning the corner. She made mention of the fact that when she took over this department, many of the directors and directors general were all in an acting capacity, and that all these matters related to appointments is something that she's inherited, and she's tried very hard to get permanent people in these positions so that it can perform better. And then on the part of SASSA, we hear from officials there, again, acknowledging that they do still continue to have problems, but they also believe that they are on the way up. And most importantly, John, saying that within time, as they improve their systems at SASSA, that they hope to be operating, quote, like a bank, and that it will have the look and feel, and it will have the kind of customer interaction as one would with a bank. And these are all part of the processes that they are putting in place. We know that SASSA came under a lot of flack last year when it was at the behest of Treasury checking on fraud. And we do hear today that the numbers of people who receive old age pensions are actually on the decline. And SASSA saying that this is in fact a good thing, because it means that they have managed to root out several fraudulent claims. So those are some of the, a bit of both really, John, acknowledging that they do still have problems, they are working on them, but they do believe that the department and SASSA are in a better place today than they were a year ago.
Thanks so much. Thank you very much indeed to Lindsay Dentlinger. Interesting couple of hours down in Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Social Development. 3:30. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news with Mbali Dlamini, starting off with that Nafiz Modak court case, which seems to go on and on.
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. While the prosecution in the trial of alleged underworld gang boss Nafiz Modak has cast doubt on the testimony of IPID's deputy head for the Western Cape, Mario September. September testified as a witness for Modak's defence related to IPID's investigation into top cop Charles Kinnear's murder in 2020. Modak, who is on trial with 14 others, faces 122 charges, including the murder of Kinnear. Carlo Peterson reports.
State Prosecutor Greg Volmerans questioned IPID's Deputy Provincial Head for the Western Cape, Mario September, about his visit to Goodwood Prison in June last year. September says he was at the prison to consult with an inmate who provided him with the identity of the shooter who allegedly killed top cop Charles Kinnear. He told the court he was informed the shooter was a hitman for the 28th gang, led by alleged underworld kingpin Ralph Stanfield. Volmerans questioned September about whether he consulted Modak, who is being held at Goodwood Prison, on the same day.
On the 3rd of June, the day you saw Mr. Abrams, did you also see Mr. Modak at Goodwood Prison? I can't say. Could be. I can't say.
September admitted he had consulted with Modak numerous times last year related to IPID's investigation. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
Service delivery issues in the Utugela district municipality in KwaZulu-Natal have dented the DA's working relationship with the IFP. The DA has accused the IFP of failing to maintain some of the agreements reached when they decided to support each other across several municipalities. Provincial party bosses added their voice to the local leaders, claiming that despite several attempts to compel the municipality to deliver water, their pleas fell on deaf ears. For years now, the district municipality has battled to supply water, including areas such as Loskop, situated in the Langalibalele local municipality. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
A 2023 South African Human Rights Commission report said the IFP-led Utugela district municipality in the KwaZulu-Natal Midlands violated rights to water, with systematic disruptions causing a crisis. The Commission also flagged that the water infrastructure installed in 2016 went dry since 2019. Today, the DA announced failures by the party it supports to run the rural municipality. DA Utugela constituency head Malia Keshelembe.
It is our view that it's not the good news that the IFP in Utugela district municipality, under the leadership of Inkosi Shabalala as a mayor, has dismally failed to honor the Service Delivery Pact signed by both parties.
EWN has reached out to the IFP for comment. We are yet to receive a response. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the stabbing of two people in North London is concerning. It's understood a man with a knife was seen running down the street attempting to stab Jewish people in Golders Green. Police arrived shortly after the incident and tasered the man, who is now in police custody. Starmer has called on MPs to support the probe into this attack.
It is deeply concerning to everyone in this House. There is now a police investigation, and I think we all need to do everything we can to support that investigation and be absolutely clear in our determination to deal with any of these offences.
London has seen a string of attacks this month alone, including an attack at a synagogue on April the 15th, a suspected attack on a premises linked to a Jewish charity on the 17th, and a suspected arson attack targeting a synagogue on the 18th of April. Well, it's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 23 degrees.
In Pretoria and Hermanstad, expect slight delays on DISCM Drive between Moot Street and Vomhagen. And in Protea Glen, traffic is starting to build up on the N12 as you approach the R558.
The top story in EWN, the prosecution in the trial of alleged underworld gang boss Nafiz Modak has cast doubt on the testimony of IPID's deputy head for the Western Cape, Mario September.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Yesterday, the 27th of April, has become a public holiday for us to reflect and enjoy our democracy. It is Freedom Day, and we received well wishes from all over the world, including from the United States. It was a brief statement from the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, but it read, "On behalf of the United States of America, I extend warm greetings to the people of South Africa as you commemorate Freedom Day. Over 3 decades since South Africa's democratic transition, this occasion provides an opportunity to reflect on the country's history and future as we look ahead."
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an unmistakable rhythm that brings us all together. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be a part of something special. Entries open soon. In the meantime, stay tuned to 702 and get ready for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
In the world of finance, manufacturing, and mining, automating business processes is a crucial factor in stimulating an organization's growth and bottom line. Zoe Projects and Consulting, a specialized process engineering and automation firm, offers comprehensive data and business systems analysis to optimize your company's processes, to save time, reduce costs, and better efficiency. Go to zoeprojects.co.za and get in touch with Zoe Projects and Consulting today.
Let's count backward. 5, insurance. 4, pineapple. 3, insurance. 2, pineapple. 1, you're under.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Afternoon, John and the team. My first thought is air traffic controllers. That job looks like it's high pressured. I don't think those people have a space to be pretending that they're working, because it's super focused. So I'm looking at your Heathrow Airport air traffic controllers, because it's one of the busiest airports. Yeah, so air traffic controller.
Good afternoon, Dr. John and the 702 family at large. The sentencing of Bellarmine and Matonot's high corner. It doesn't sound right. It looks like in South Africa, when you have a bit of money and you are politically connected, the law is more than willing to look away. But if you're a nuisance like Julius Malema, they would want to throw the book and the bus at you and everything. I'm not even a fan of Julius Malema, but I think his sentence was a bit harsher than what we are experiencing here. I mean, those guys, they shot at someone, attempted murder. They did not even produce the gun after shooting. They are illegal in the country. So all of these things, they are going away now, and the gun is not found. Like, what do we make of this?
Yeah, there are many questions. And there might be some people who say, well, every case is different. But the comparisons, I think, are unavoidable. And I think they raise valid questions, not necessarily about the specifics of a case-by-case comparison, but they certainly speak to people's perceptions of justice and beliefs that many people hold that justice is not doled out equitably, equally and fairly. So keep your thoughts coming on that. We're lining up someone who can explain some of the legal intricacies to us. That's coming up a little bit later. 20 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Big match in the Betway Premiership tonight after the derby on Sunday. Tolakele, another chance for Sundowns tonight.
Absolutely, John, and they'll look to return to winning ways this evening when they take on Polokwane City in the Betway Premiership. The defending champions have drawn their last 2 games to leave them a point behind log leaders Orlando Pirates in the title race. And with the Buccaneers breathing down their neck, Khuliso Mudau says there's no room for error.
Now, obviously, we're taking one game at a time. We're not pushing ourselves under pressure. I think it's very important to, like, in a situation like this, to calm down and focus more on ourselves, not on other things that's happening.
PSG and Bayern Munich served up a classic in the first leg of the UEFA Champions League semi-final as the title holders won the game 5-4. The Parisians have now scored more than 2 goals in each of their past 9 knockout games, which is the longest run in the competition's history. And ahead of the return leg, Vincent Kompany has called on the Bavarian supporters to turn up in their numbers to deny PSG a chance of reaching a second consecutive final.
And we're at home. We'll have 75,000 people in that stadium. The city will live for an entire week. We don't just want noise. We want a mass in the stadium. We want that weight to be there, and we need it. And then it's a place where anything can happen. It's the Allianz Arena. So for us, it's not a ground that is shy of successful moments for this team.
George North will retire from the sport at the end of the season after playing a major role in a golden era for Welsh rugby. He scored 47 tries in 121 tests as he helped the Dragons win the Six Nations title 4 times, as well as achieving the Grand Slam on 2 of those occasions. He's been playing for French second-tier side Provence in the past 2 seasons, although injury has restricted his availability.
At the end of the season, I'll be retiring. For me, it's the right time. I've been able to live out my childhood dream for many seasons, playing with some of the best players, coaches, and the staff behind. Now, I can't thank my family, my friends, and you guys enough for the support you've shown me over the years. Honestly, it's meant the world to me. The next chapter, still working on that one, but I'm excited to see where that journey takes me.
And Live Golf has postponed its event in New Orleans in June amid continued concerns over its future and concerns that it will clash with the FIFA World Cup. US officials say the event will be rescheduled to September or October as they're keen to avoid peak summer heat. The cancellation means that Live Golf will not have any tournaments in the United States for a 3-month period from the 10th of May until the 6th of August. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
18 minutes to 4. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by GWM, class-leading vehicles that help you navigate your journey. Let's get the latest. Khumotso Munyai, what are the roads telling us about where to avoid and where we can go with confidence?
Thank you, John. We'll start in Pretoria. If you're around Hermanstad, you can expect some slight delays on DISCM Drive between Moot Street and Vomhagen. As you come to the N1 South, it is experiencing some delays. This is from the Betlu interchange to Rivonia Road, and it is due to an accident. Over on the east, you look out for a stationary vehicle on the R24 East. This is just before Edenvale Road. It's not affecting flow of traffic as much, but please be aware of it as you approach that area. Lastly, in Protea Glen, there's slow-moving traffic on the N12 as you get closer to the R558. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Ever since fuel went up, you've had to endure a lot. Like helping your mom run errands while she tries to help you with your love life.
Hi, Bo. Kanti, when are you and Sfiso getting married? Pella, I want grandchildren.
Don't let the fuel hike put you under pressure. Get 5,000 Rand towards your fuel when you buy a Haval or P-Series this month. Visit gwm.co.za or your nearest dealer to book a test drive. GWM. Go with more.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 3:45. Tola Kelly, we've been asking the question, have you ever in your life needed to have a strategy? I mean, I'm quite sure it's completely redundant now, but a strategy where you could look busy at work, even if you were having, just a little down moment, maybe a bit of a chill?
I used to work in print, so Mondays we would go to publication, even though the thing that I was writing for would only be released on Thursday. But Tuesday was always like our down day, where you knew that you could pitch your story to diary, but for most of the day, you didn't have anything to do. That's where I discovered vlogs on YouTube.
Okay.
And the great thing is when the person was live, it would allow for you to be typing messages into the chat box. So if you're thinking that I'm really working, while I'm busy typing like the message and laughing with other people in the comments, it gives the impression that I'm working on an article.
So I think that's very interesting. Everything we've heard so far, Khomotso Munyai's technique, by the way, is walk fast. When you are headed anywhere, look like it's very purposeful, so don't have time now. I'd love to chat, that kind of thing. And then, you keep going towards wherever it is that you're going. But I'm just wondering, people who are managers of teams or even, organizational entities bigger than that, is this something you should just factor in? And instead of having people trying to look busy, you just say, okay, guys, we've got a little bit of a lull now. Movies. Go to the movies, go shop. I'll see you in 2 hours, where you can actually make meaningful use of that time instead of, it's the difference between having a meal and snacking, in terms of time, obviously not food. I'm just wondering, maybe somebody in the workplace has actually come up with that as an idea and said, you know what, okay, you need a little bit of a break. Take 2 hours for lunch. We'll see you later.
Oh, they will never come back, John. No.
I bet you they will.
I highly doubt it. Absolutely not.
If Khomotso said to me, let's go to Nando's for lunch, we're not coming back. I'm sorry. But I think you can...
What are you going to order that will make you not come back?
That full chicken.
The full chicken.
Well, we don't expect you to fly home, but we would like you to come back.
But I think there's a way you can structure it. Maybe for the first 30 minutes, look, I'm going to make my coffee. I'm going to do my rounds. Don't expect me to log into the Teams meeting. So give me that first 30 minutes of the day. Give me my hour lunch break. And also the last 30 minutes of the day.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm leaving at 5. But I'm really clocking out at 4:15. And I'm just waiting around.
Okay. I'm not giving up on my idea. I think it's a good one. I like it. Anyone out there who's been a team leader? I have not. Anyone who's been a manager? I sort of have. But yeah, isn't there some merit in that? Instead of people trying to look busy and nicking little bits of time here and bits of time there, and a general kind of little dip in the mood, instead of just formalizing and saying, hey, listen, I'm up to date with my work. I don't have to get anything done next 2 hours. Can I go somewhere? Unrealistic? Probably. But if you've tried it and it's worked, please call me. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 12 minutes to 4.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Okay, it's 12 minutes to 4. The DISCM Foundation isn't just a name attached to good intentions. It's actually a team of real people focused on tackling real challenges across South Africa every single day. We're chatting to that incredible team today to find out what drives them, what they're seeing on the ground, and why their mission matters now more than ever. And of course, I think from listening to the show over many months now about the amazing work the DISCM Foundation does. We heard about, for example, the work they've done with the Akani Simbine Foundation. Akani has just held a major athletics event, and they do a lot of work in the fields of education and sports development. We've heard about work done in the health and education spheres, so they're busy with a lot of things. Let's then welcome 3 members of the DISCM Foundation team. Jackie Karlberg is with us. Luvokazi Mponzo is joining us as well, and we're joined too by Emma van Dongen. To all 3 of you, welcome, and it's great to have you with us. Jackie, just to set the scene, I know a lot of our listeners know about your work, but if you could give us a summary for those perhaps who haven't been listening on the days when we've spoken about your specific partnerships and projects. The DISCM Foundation in a nutshell, please.
Hi, John. Thank you. So we have 4 main pillars, and I think we've touched on all of them time and time again in different spheres. So it's access to education, access to healthcare, and of course, access to nutrition and caring for the communities. Those are our four main pillars. And as you know, there's an enormous amount of work that we do under each pillar. And just very quickly to Akani Simbini, who we did work with yesterday at the festival, at the Akani Simbini Classic. We took care of meals for 500 children from underprivileged areas, which is access to nutrition at the festival. And Akani, whose heart runs as fast as his feet, and jeepers, he's just really so incredibly fast to ensure while he's doing this that children are able to have meals.
Yeah.
So they, access to nutrition right there.
Yeah, and connecting different projects together. I mean, Luvukazi, tell us a little bit about what you gain from doing the kind of work that the DISCM Foundation does, and what for you kind of makes you at the end of the day say, wow, I'm glad I did that. It was well worth it.
It's a lot. The gratitude that we
Luvukazi, can I just ask you, I don't know if you're on speakerphone, but we're not hearing you as well as we would like to. Can you perhaps shift or change your settings and go again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little better. Go ahead.
I was saying it's the gratitude we receive on the ground. The people that we work with, is we are always on the ground with the people within the community. And there's nothing you can actually gain or anything that.
Okay, just battling a little bit with Luvukazi. Emma van Dongen, let's bring you in here. I mean, we've heard a little bit about nutrition and that pillar of the foundation's work from Jackie. Education, also vital. I mean, what of your education projects particularly fill your heart?
Hi, John. Yes, education is so important, especially in South Africa. One of the main projects in education that really make a difference to me and my life is the Million Comforts, especially our new chapter in Million Comforts. It's really important keeping girls in school, making sure they have access to education and can get to school and stay in school and keep their dignity is just so close to my heart and so special.
Yeah, it really does make an enormous difference dealing with the personal needs of so many young women who find their educational opportunities stymied and sometimes even stifled by the lack of access to that support. Jackie, I mean, the community aspect of it is crucial, and we always talk about caring for communities. The skeptics might say, well, there's so much need, you're never able to do more than just meet just a tiny fraction of that. You obviously believe that 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2, but it can equal more.
It can. The hole is dark and the hole is very deep. And, it can sometimes feel very disconcerting. But we go away from many sad situations knowing that we've made just a little bit of a difference. But the impact is enormous because by changing just one life, there's a knock-on effect most of the time, which is fantastic. So it's a lot of work. I mean, you've had opportunity to speak to Emma, and I think we lost Livo, unfortunately. And there's also Maria, and as you know, we led by Lynette Saltzman, who started this great work so very many years ago. And I think we have all followed in her lead. And what a wonderful lead it is, because we just do incredible work. And on Saturday, on the 2nd of May, we're actually going to be at DISCM Nickelway at the Winifred Mandela Precinct for our Million Comforts campaign. And we've got an exciting, very exciting lineup of celebrities and sports people. We'll have Mia LaRue there. We'll have Mornay van den Berg. We'll have the MP from the rugby. Akani's unfortunately going to be running in Botswana in the relay. But he's autographing some fantastic gifts for us.
Right.
And this is not just about the Million Comforts. This is about people coming to see what the foundation does, how we come together. And you can see why I personally, who I spend a fair amount of time with you, am so calm and generally relaxed because this is the team that I have backing me and working with me. So we're all high energy.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline Karlberg. Thank you as well to Emma van Dongen, not just for being with us on the show, but also for the excellent work that the DISCM Foundation not only does, but shares with us in regular conversations we have about the partnerships and the work that they do in those partnerships. And thanks to many of you, by the way, because every swipe of your DISCM Better Rewards card helps support the incredible work of the DISCM Foundation. If you're not a member, visit discm.co.za to find out how you can join the DISCM Better Rewards program. Every swipe counts.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
This is a sad story of Mazwi Kubek, disappeared from Vosloorus. This is a young man who owns a spaza shop out in Vosloorus. But the circumstances under which he disappeared suggest that he may have been kidnapped by opposition spaza shop gangs who believe that he may not operate a spaza shop in that area because it is their area. There are certain areas in South Africa that have become no-go areas, particularly for South African business owners. These are unacceptable things.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Celebrate our mothers on Sunday 10 May at Nairox Sculpture Park in the splendor of the cradle of humankind. Wander through the sweeping landscapes, embrace contemporary sculpture. You can taste premium Cape wines and savor gourmet cuisine, all to the sounds of some of South Africa's finest performing artists. Nairox is delighted to welcome Lyra back to their stage, as well as Steve Dyer's band alongside a 20-piece choir. Limited tickets are available from nairoxarts.com. Nairox is a private, not-for-profit foundation to benefit the arts. All income is used to maintain the grounds, the artist residency program, and artist support.
Attention all shoppers.
Our supermarket shelves are full of unhealthy food. It's often hard for me to know which foods are good for my family. The information on packaged food is complicated and hard to understand. I wish we had easy-to-understand warning labels on foods high in salt, sugar, and saturated fat. We have the right to know what's in our food. Support front-of-package warning labels on unhealthy packaged foods. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
Outsurance business insurance. The cost was far less. I even have better benefits.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you get 24/7 access to panic assistance, roadside assistance, and even office assistance for guest houses, catering companies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Yeah, good afternoon, John, and the listeners. Sam here from Joburg. I'm also a little bit concerned about the judgment of Robert Mugabe's son and his co-accused. I mean, I feel like there is some unfairness there. Obviously, if you are the son of the president, you've got powers, you've got money, can get away with murder. But if you don't have money, the law doesn't favor you at all. So I feel like, you know what, there's something that we don't understand there. Maybe the law, people that knows the law can be able to explain exactly what is happening. Thanks, John. Sam from Joburg.
Good afternoon, John. Lindy here. I'm on the road. I am a manager, and for my team, I do have a Fridays 3 o'clock knock off for the team. If your work is done, everything is up to date, Friday, knock off at 3 o'clock, see you on Monday. So yep, we do that, and it's fun. It encourages the team to push, and we all know Fridays are, everyone's thinking of the weekend anyway. So yeah, early Fridays.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's very, very interesting. If you're wondering what we're talking about, that we started off with a question: how do you look busy at work? What kinds of techniques have you used over the years to, if you're not really up for something, or maybe you're between assignments, you don't particularly want to be given your next one, so you find ways to look busy. But then I also asked the question, and that's what that last message was in response to. If there is a pattern where people do what I'm describing or inviting you to describe, wouldn't it be better for managers and team leaders and others to actually recognize this and say, look, rather than you pretending to be busy and then getting genuinely tired because you snowed under, let's take advantage of the gap. Take a 2-hour lunch. My colleagues, Tola, Kelly and Khumotso, are saying that would be disastrous. No one would ever come back. So, two-part question. Give me your thoughts, please. 072-702-1702. Looking forward to hearing from you. It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Bellarmine Mugabe at OR Tambo Airport for deportation, and Kolega Kalega says corruption suspects are becoming more brazen. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Lawyers for the youngest son of the late former Zimbabwean president, Robert Mugabe, say they are finalizing immigration processes to facilitate his exit from South Africa. This after the Alexandra Magistrates Court ordered Bellarmine Mugabe's immediate deportation. Mugabe left the court under police escort today as part of a convoy headed for the OR Tambo International Airport. Mugabe was fined a total of 600,000 rand or 3.5 years in prison for pointing an object resembling a firearm and contravening immigration laws. His cousin and co-accused Tobias Matonodze has been sentenced to an effective 3 years in prison on 4 charges, including unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition, as well as attempted murder. This is in relation to a shooting incident that occurred at their residence in Hyde Park in February this year.
Finalize the immigration process. We're on our way to the airport now to finalize the deportation.
The city of Johannesburg says it is embarking on an ambitious plan to raise 13 billion rand to address its aging water infrastructure. Earlier today, the municipality unveiled a new 26 megalitre reservoir in Brixton. The municipality says this will strengthen capacity issues in the Johannesburg West area and address long-standing water issues largely caused by aging infrastructure. Tabiso Koba reports.
Like most major municipalities, the city of Johannesburg has an issue of aging infrastructure. The municipality currently replaces about 17 kilometers of its water pipes per year, which is far below the national requirement of 175 kilometers. Speaking at the launch of the Brixton Water Reservoir, Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says as the most populated city in the country, the municipality has a number of competing needs.
We have an ambitious project right now to raise about 13 billion rands with an intention to invest it in the water pipe replacement program, which will also include a sewer pipe replacement program. We are working, of course, with different financial institutions. Included is the South African Development Bank.
Morero says if the 17 billion rand is raised, the municipality will be able to replace about 2,000 kilometers of its 12,000 kilometer water pipe network. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Public Protector Kolega Kalega says corruption suspects are becoming increasingly brazen, even threatening investigators. She says her office has been forced to beef up security and conduct threat assessments following a rise in threats. Kalega was briefing Parliament's Justice Committee about the entity's annual performance plan and budget. Babalondenze reports.
Kolega Kalega says they've seen an improvement in their investigating capacity and are even investigating matters referred to her office by the Auditor General. She says funds from the Criminal Assets Recovery account are also helping source experts and balance their funding. But she says the investigators are now facing more threats.
I just want to make this point. With all these cases that we've mentioned here that we are investigating, I must mention that there's also an increasing threat to our investigators who are actually investigating.
Kalega says they've been forced to beef up security.
those who are committing corruption are actually becoming more brazen. So we even have to increase the security at our offices and do assessments on individual investigators.
Galeka also noted that they've seen a recurrence in terms of offences and how new administrations merely continue the pattern. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
And Brussels has announced the temporary relaxing of state aid rules to ease energy cost challenges for EU countries. Oil and gas prices have surged in the wake of the US-Israeli war against Iran that began in February. For example, EU countries can now give companies in farming, fishing and transport money to cover parts of the price increases for fuel or fertilizers based on actual consumption. Brussels hopes its measures will help small farmers with their fuel and fertilizer costs while giving room for more aid for diesel prices to transport firms. The rules will be in place until December, but the Commission has said it will keep the measures under review. While gold is trading at $4,553.99 an ounce, the rand is at 16.64 to the dollar, 22.46 to the pound, 19.47 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $114.46 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you're heading towards Bedford View, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 South, and in Sunning Hill, there's heavy delays on the N1 South. This is due to an accident at the Betlu interchange.
In your sport, Kaizer Chiefs' eye crucial win over Siwelele in the Bedway Premiership. Hugo Bruce reiterates that Thembinkosi Lodge will not be called up for Bafana squad for the World Cup. And Leah Tahuhu and Sophie Devine to retire from cricket after the T20 World Cup.
A cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 8 degrees, peaking at 18. Pretoria 9 and 21 and Vereeniging 6 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Lawyers for the youngest son of late former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe say they're finalizing immigration processes to facilitate his exit and deportation from South Africa.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 7 minutes past 4. Welcome to the show. Good to have you with us. How are you doing today? What do you think about the big stories of the day? A lot of debate and discussion around the decision reached in the court in regard to Bellarmine Mugabe. He is fined 600,000 Rand. It is, as we speak, being deported from the country. The other person who stood trial with him, some refer to him as his accomplice. I'm not exactly sure whether that is the right term to use, but Tobias Matonze has been sentenced to 3 years in jail. They both pleaded guilty to various charges. Clearly, the greater weight of all of this falling on Mr. Matonze. What do you think of this judgment? We are going to get you a legal expert who will explain to us exactly what the court might have considered and how they arrived at this particular decision. That's coming up on 7:02 Drive after 5 o'clock. Coming up in a moment, we're going to look at this thing, jobs in short supply in South Africa, critically so, cripplingly so for the people who don't have work. And of course, we have a shortage of electricity and we struggle to get enough water. Very interesting piece written by the journalist Tony Carney is about how the setting up of 4 huge data centers in Cape Town could consume as much as 34% of the city's available electricity. It's an alarming thought. It's something I need to understand a little better. Tony Carney joining us with that in a moment to give us what he's looked into and tell us a little bit more about what he's found. We've been asking you questions about ways in which you try to look busy at work, and we've kind of switched to the question of, are there ways of in making sure that instead of people trying to look busy, you just give them more time off if their work has actually been completed? I asked that question of team leaders, of managers, and we'll see what a couple of you had to say. The number where you get hold of us is 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. The other big story today, of course, is the March and March, accompanied by other organizations and political parties marching through Johannesburg, demanding that government act against illegal immigrants. You may have some views on that march, the remedies that are being proposed, the nature of the problem. Perhaps some of you feel the problem is mischaracterized altogether. Whatever you think, we'd like to hear from you on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 4:10.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
And Tate John, let me be anonymous today. As a young supervisor some 16, 15 years ago, one of the things I used to do for my team, which ran for some time, was that because we get a 13th check in November, I would give the ladies in the office that payday off, or not necessarily off, they'd be at work, but go out shopping for the day. And for the male teammates, we would once in a while have a movie session in the office. So we'll be in the office and would get a movie. It could be an action movie, it could be a motivational, whatever video it could be. We would sit and watch that in the office for 2 to 3 hours. And I can promise you the teams always looked forward to those days, and they would push to make sure that day happens, because it came with pre-qualifiers before it happens. So we had to agree on what needs to happen before we get those days.
Yeah, thanks for that. Interesting suggestions there. Maybe you got some of your own. 4:11.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by GWM, class-leading vehicles that help you navigate your journey. Let's find out where there might be problems in Gauteng. Khomotso Munyai with the latest.
Thank you, John. If you are leaving Sandton, you can start bracing yourself for those peak time delays on the N3 South, with traffic already backing up to Vincent Shabalala Road. In Sunning Hill, it's quite heavy on the N1 South. It is due to an accident around the Betlu interchange, as well as around Rivonia Road, so you'll feel it as you approach that area. And if you're heading towards Protea Lane, things are slowing down on the N12. This is as you approach the R558. Let's look out for those faulty traffic lights in Melrose at the M1 North and Collet Drive, in Blagari at Jan Smuts and Republic, in Midrand at Olifantsfontein and Old Pretoria Road, as well as in Kyalami at the R55 and Kenilworth. Traffic lights are also out in the capital city, in Monument Park at the R21, on Solomon Mahlangu Drive, as well as in Pretoria CBD at DISCM Foundation and Blood, as well as DISCM Foundation Drive and Steuben Street. I'll be back with more updates in just a bit.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Ever since fuel went up, you've had to endure a lot. Like helping your mom run errands while she tries to help you with your love life.
Hi, Bo. Kanti, when are you and Sfiso getting married? Pella, I want grandchildren.
Don't let the fuel hike put you under pressure. Get 5,000 Rand towards your fuel when you buy a Haval or P-Series this month. Visit gwm.co.za or your nearest dealer to book a test drive. GWM. Go with more.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection, because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
Mzansi Ballet proudly presents Heal the World, an inspiring new ballet set to the iconic music of global legend Michael Jackson. Choreographed by South African prima ballerina and award-winning choreographer Angela Revi in collaboration with renowned Mexican guest dancer and choreographer George Wade, this powerful production celebrates dance as a force for connection, healing and transformation. It tells a deeply human and emotionally charged story of resilience and self-discovery. Heal the World runs from 13 May to 7 June at the Peter Turin Theatre at Monte Cassino. Get your tickets now through web tickets.
Solve exciting riddles and unravel a web of suspense and adventure with Hollywood Bets and Spinners on Kim Mystery Parcel. You stand a chance to win a share of 1 million rand in cash and bonus bets. Start your quest and bet 2 rand or more on selected Playtech slots every Wednesday between 2:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. and Sunday from 4:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. What scintillating secret will your parcel reveal? Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
It's 6 a.m. in Kenya. Victor's little sister starts high school today, but her fees need to be paid first. Back in Jozi, Victor logs onto the Absa banking app and sends her money and a little extra for lunch. It arrives instantly.
Your money makes their world go round. Send cash to 18 countries across the world with Absa Global Pay. It's safe, instant, and affordable. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, as I said earlier, we have some major problems in the country. I think it's fair to say the largest one is the high levels of unemployment and the poverty that accompanies that. Shortages of water, a big problem as well, and the energy crisis, while not as bad as it was a couple of years back in the era of load shedding, remains as a shadow over much of what we try to achieve on a daily, weekly and monthly basis in South Africa. You would have thought news of massive data centers being built would be good news on the job front, and it almost certainly is. They're the construction jobs, they're these interior fitting out of the building. The projects there will certainly create a lot of jobs and sustain a lot of businesses, and then there are the people who work there. But there are growing concerns about the extent to which these massive centers consume electricity, and because there is so much power going into the work that gets done there, a lot of water is needed for cooling as well. Somebody who's been raising some questions in this regard, not for the first time, but focused on Cape Town this time round, is our next guest. Tony Carney is a journalist with Daily Maverick. And Tony, a very good afternoon to you. You say Cape Town has 10 data centers already. Their cumulative electricity demand is relatively modest. I'm quoting from your opening paragraphs. But now you're saying 4 massive entities are now going to get set up in Cape Town. Why are they such a game changer? Why do you think they're going to impact the city's power and water needs as profoundly as you believe they will?
Well, hi, John. Yes, as you say, the data centers currently in existence in South Africa are relatively small, but there's at least 4 new data centers proposed for Cape Town.
Right.
And I thought it might be interesting to do some sort of mathematical calculations to put this in context. And when you add up their electricity needs, it's equivalent to 34% or 1/3 of Cape Town's current electricity demand. I consider it's pretty much almost 1 year to the day since the end of Eskom load shedding, and about 8 years since that day zero.
Right.
But when you suddenly have to produce another 34% of electricity and an unknown volume of more extra water, obviously that raises big questions about the sustainability of wooing and encouraging data centers to locate here.
In terms of the city recognizing that the locating of these data centers will bring about some of the pressures that you've just described, locating them in Cape Town, are they planning for it, or are they acknowledging it as a problem? When you engage with them, do they engage back?
Cape Town has engaged to a certain extent in saying that, quite interestingly, electricity demand in Cape Town has fallen by roughly 20% over the last since 2018, I think, which is interesting. And so they're saying, well, given the fact that our electricity demand has declined over the last 2 decades or so,
right?
Then this is kind of a welcome addition. But there's still. I don't think Eskom is completely out the woods yet. But I qualify that answer about Cape Town's engaging because we did ask them questions about the current cumulative demand of existing data centers. And the implications of the expansion. And the response was, in response to specific information, was they've kind of thrown poppier secrecy clauses at us, saying they can't share all that information.
Right.
Yes.
No. Finish the thought.
No. So, which I think is concerning because, if we decide that data centers are the way to go, but they then have to be catered for, and that requires transparency, and it requires planning. To avoid a kind of repeat scenario of electricity and water shortages.
We always invariably, I would think, with the choices we make as a society, obviously with government and to a particular extent business in many ways dictating those choices. There's always going to be a cost-loss balancing act, I would have thought. So if you were to say, for example, argue for the data centers, you look at how much tax revenue they create, that money can then go towards improving our energy capacity, for example, upgrading water infrastructure to deal with water losses, etc., etc. Again, you would look at the amount of jobs that get created, and again, look at the beneficial positive spirals of that versus the kind of problems that you're raising. I mean, are these data centers big creators of jobs? What do we know about them?
John, I haven't looked closely at the employment levels of data centers, but from what I have read, relative to the volume of electricity and water they consume compared to other sectors, the job benefits are comparatively much lower because they're largely automated. They do require expertise. They do require security. But it's not like a labor-intensive factory scenario or warehousing and distribution, for example. And I think also, apart from those benefits you described, the other kind of indirect costs is if there's a demand increases for electricity and water, what effect does that have on pricing? If they're short, the prices are likely to increase for both water and electricity, and that's also an issue that needs to be taken into account.
I mean, one of the things, just in response to the point you made, Tony, point taken that maybe these are not labor-intensive jobs, but the counter-argument might be these are, to some degree, the jobs of the future, not the only jobs of the future. But if we don't get on the fast-moving train that is AI and related fields, we might find ourselves at the station, peering down the track, wondering if another train is going to come along. I mean, is this not pain that the city of Cape Town and by extension other metro entities maybe need to take so that, if we prove to companies, and we hope that the technology of reducing the energy consumption in these centers actually evolves, because many things do move down the cost curve and the use curve as well, that, pain now but gain later.
Yes, well, of course, nobody wants to be left behind in terms of technology and economic growth. But it really comes to the point of the necessity of planning and not going into it blindfolded, and to have a clear policy on what the costs and the benefits are.
Yeah, it's a very interesting debate, but thank you for setting out some of those numbers and raising the alerts. Anyone involved? That was, by the way, Tony Carney, who's an environmental journalist at Daily Maverick. Anyone involved in the planning, operation, funding of these massive data centers? I mean, by all accounts, they're going to be huge. According to Tony, the Cavaleros Group announcing plans to build a 360 megawatt data center in the city. Teraco is currently the biggest player in South Africa, is looking to build two new centers, or one new center rather, 60 megawatts, and there are other entrants as well. I don't know anything about these centers, the way they work, the extent to which they create jobs, and the extent to which they become an industry that could expand, hopefully exponentially, where if you get to a certain stage, the needs multiply and they move nice and quickly and create, firstly, some jobs, and secondly, greater prosperity and tax revenue. But if it's a field you work in or something you've read about or have a view on, please do give me a call, because I have a very large canvas waiting to be filled. 072 702 1702, 26 minutes past 4.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Afternoon, Uncle John. Uncle John, as much as I'm disappointed about the verdict in the Mugabe case, it's very disappointing. One would have preferred imprisonment. So it is what it is. But I would like to know, on top of what was decided, why did they not ban him not to ever set foot in South Africa ever again, since he was here illegally? On top of being here illegally, there was crime committed, guns involved, and so forth. Why couldn't they just ban him for good, so that he does not ever return to South Africa?
Hi, John. I used to work for a company whereby it was target driven. So when you are done with your work, you would be allowed to go home. It doesn't matter what time is it. It was target driven. So the boss, the day he inducted me, because it was an SMME, he said that corporate was boring for him, and he knows that people lazy around. They pretend like they are working while they're doing nothing productive. So he rather have targets, and then if you've met the target, go home, and then tomorrow we continue another day. Thank you. Nice topic.
Yeah, thanks for all those contributions. 702 Drive, 27 minutes past 4. Let's find out what's happened on the markets on this second day of trade this week.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, I assume you never pretend to be busy, hey? You either busy or you're not here.
John, yeah. It's one of those things where I'm quite lucky in a way, because everything that I do is kind of so visible.
Yes.
So it's quite hard to sort of say, actually, you don't really know what you're doing. And I think that really does make life a lot easier, frankly.
Will you definitely know what's been happening on the market, so do tell us.
You're so optimistic. So look, it's all once again about oil prices. They've been around $115 a barrel for most of the day. That's Brent crude. That's really pushed markets down. So the JSE All Share down 0.62% at 113,692. Industrials are up 0.23. Financials are down 0.61, and resources are down 1.7% on the day. And that has the sort of predictable effect. Although Sasol are up so significantly, and I think this is just a sort of understanding and a realization of how long-term this could all be. They're up 4.58%. We see one or two of the other companies that benefit in that space. So Tungela are up 2% as well. Glencore up 1.63%, and this is kind of what you would expect. Grindrod have been having a stellar time recently. They're up 3.79%. They're in logistics, they're in construction, and we've seen really a lot of interest in that share. And then some of the communications companies, Telkom, are up nearly 3%, and MTN are up by 1.5%. It's the miners that are down, as you would expect. So Northam is down, Valterra, Implats, all of them are down quite strongly. Spar giving up a few of the gains that they've had recently, and they've had quite a good time, really, over the last little while. So intrigued to see that they seem to be down at the moment by around 2%, which is sort of a little odd. We see that in the US, the markets have opened sort of mixed. So there's quite a lot going on in the US. Jerome Powell is the chair of the US Federal Reserve. His last meeting underway. There as chair, we still expect him to stay on, although that's not yet been confirmed. On the Monetary Policy Committee, there'll be a new chair next time. It also means Powell, by the way, kind of has carte blanche to say what he wants, and that on itself should be quite interesting. We see also that there's a lot of earnings numbers coming through. The Dow Jones is down 0.29, the Nasdaq is down 0.13, and the S&P 500 is down 0.11 at the moment. Some of my currencies and the gold price just disappearing off my screen as I talk to you. I must just say, though, that gold and platinum have been down for most of the day. And then, of course, we also have, here we are. Gold is at $4,534, and then the rand to the dollar 16.71, so weaker to the euro 19.54. To the euro, to the pound 22.54. Stephen Crotus, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Back with us at 25 minutes past 5. At 4:30, we need to catch up with what's happening in the news. Earlier, we heard a little bit from Lindsay Dentlinger about the Social Development Minister appearing before Parliament. An update on that to start off this bulletin from Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Social Development Minister Sisi Sitolashe says her department is making steady progress in converting the Social Relief of Distress grant into a more permanent income support grant that will be linked to economic opportunities. The 370 grant, introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, has been extended year on year, with its most recent extension set to end in March of 2027. Today, Tolashe told Parliament that on average, it takes 5 years to develop a policy, and a lot of work is going into drafting legislation that will guide the introduction of a livelihoods grant. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
The Social Development Agency, SASSA, is currently paying out SRD grants to 7.8 million people. Minister Sisisi Tolashe says the department has already presented its preliminary work on the conversion of the grant to the Cabinet and the National Treasury. She says the extension of the SRD grant until next year buys the department more time to fine-tune its policy.
It gives us an opportunity to strengthen everything that we're doing and fast-track where we can in making sure that we are coming closer to a conclusion.
Deputy Director General Brenda Sabiko appeared confident there will be no break in the payment of the grant as the transition is made.
It will still have to be a temporary provision until such time that there is a law that empowers us, that empowers Treasury, to then be able to permanentize it.
The department says it's exploring ways to collaborate with other government programs to link the new grant to opportunities that will help people to find meaningful ways to earn an income. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
We take you to a story now which contains some disturbing details. Police in KwaZulu-Natal have arrested a doctor at his practice in Matateni, north of the province, on allegations of sexually assaulting 4 female patients at a local hospital. According to police, the alleged crimes took place between August 2025 and April this year. It's alleged the man touched his victims inappropriately and reportedly forced some of them to perform sexual acts on him. Police say the victims complained to a whistleblower who then tipped off the police. KZN police spokesperson Robert Nechiwunda says the suspect is expected to appear in the Matateni Magistrates Court tomorrow.
The FS detectives operationalized the tip-offs, and after cases were opened, investigations unfolded, leading to the arrest of the suspect. Should other victims come forward with reports of sexual assault and open cases, more charges will be added.
And in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the stabbing of two people in North London is concerning. It's understood a man with a knife was seen running down the streets attempting to stab Jewish people in Golders Green. Police arrived shortly after the incident and tasered the man, who is now in police custody. Starmer has called on MPs to support the probe into this attack.
It is deeply concerning to everyone in this House. There is now a police investigation, and I think we all need to do everything we can to support that investigation and be absolutely clear in our determination to deal with any of these offences.
A cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 6 and 9 degrees and highs of between 18 and 21.
In the traffic, if you're heading towards Bedford View, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 South from Modderfontein Road to the Gululis interchange. You can also expect delays in Edenvale, where traffic on the R24 West remains slow towards the Gululis interchange.
The top story in EWN, Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe says her department is making steady progress in converting the Social Relief of Distress grant into a more permanent income support grant.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
This is a sad story of Mazwi Kubek, disappeared from Vosloorus. This is a young man who owns a spaza shop out in Vosloorus. But the circumstances under which he disappeared suggest that he may have been kidnapped by opposition spaza shop gangs who believe that he may not operate a spaza shop in that area because it is their area. There are certain areas in South Africa that have become no-go areas, particularly for South African business owners. These are unacceptable things.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an unmistakable rhythm that brings us all together. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be a part of something special. Entries open soon. In the meantime, stay tuned to 702 and get ready for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. More on primemediaplus.com.
Water is a precious and limited resource that we all depend on. Johannesburg Water continues to strengthen the city's water network through improved turnaround times for leak repairs, pressure management, and infrastructure upgrades to improve system reliability. But water conservation is a shared responsibility. Residents can help by fixing household leaks, turning off taps, taking shorter showers, and using water wisely. Every drop saved helps. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water and sanitation utility that cares.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, Uncle John. Nathan here. Last week, one of your callers said he can put his life on a bet that the political machinery is already at work in the Mugabe case. He was correct. We knew that this guy wasn't going to spend a day in prison. So that tells me, one, is the justice system as independent as they claim? Or are political strings pulled for certain people? Just a question. Thank you, Uncle John.
Hello, John. Stuart here from Randburg. About the power in the data centers. DISCM does have reserve capacity, as it's made clear in its recent announcements. And we need to make the most of that to prevent Eskom falling into a cycle of reduced demand and ever increasing prices. this is aligned with what you've seen in the market where they've gone back to chrome producers, the potential of providing smelters with reduced fees. We have to grow the economy and we have to grow jobs, and the only way to do that is to continue to produce more electricity demand. So this sounds like a natural part of the cycle.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. And thanks to Tony Carney, because his article has really started a debate. I had some questions for him, which I think clearly indicated that there's some things I'm unsure about. And Stuart adding an important layer to the conversation that, in fact, if you bring in people who increase demand, that's a good thing, even if there might be periods of rather nervy bridging required to get from A to B. Yeah, give us your thoughts, please. People who know more about data centers, their electricity consumption. And by the way, are we seeing any signs that they can be run on that scale with increased demands that AI seems to be making on so many things, with the energy costs coming down the cost curve? Because, I would assume even the people who run those centers want to pay as little for things like energy as they possibly can. So they must have teams of people working on making them more energy efficient. But as you can hear, I have questions, absolutely no answers. If you do, 072 702 1702, we'd love to hear from you. It's 20 to 5.
EWN Sport.
Tola Keller, a good round of Betway Premiership matches tonight. Chiefs are playing, Sundowns in action. What are the different camps in the different games saying?
Well, John, Kaizer Chiefs will face Suwelele in the Betway Premiership this evening, eager to win and consolidate their third-place position in the standings. Amakhosi are enjoying a 7-game unbeaten streak, which includes 5 wins and 2 draws. Defender Aiden McCarthy has discussed what they're expecting in Bloemfontein.
Suwelele is a good team. They managed to hold the draw against Pirates, and we shouldn't overlook the individuals they have in their team, and it will be a good and tough game. I think going towards the end of the season, we just need to do the most as a team and make sure we get 3 points every game.
For Mamelodi Sundowns, they can claim top spot with a win over Polokwane City tonight as they look to bounce back from drawing their last 2 games. Victory would see the Brazilians go 2 points clear of Orlando Pirates with 4 games left in the campaign. And Miguel Cardoso believes they go into the final stretch of the season with a target on their back.
A team that has to play Champions League up to the end in a country where you have competitions one after the other just to please everybody, obviously makes us arrive in a moment of the season that you should be in the top conditions to perform, eventually with some losses.
Hugo Bruce believes that the level at Bafana Bafana may be too high for Thembinkosi Lodge as he closes the door on the forward being selected for the FIFA World Cup squad. Since moving to North Africa, the former Sundowns and Pirates man has impressed for both Wydad and Al Ittihad Tripoli. Speaking on Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Bruce explained his continued exclusion of Lodge despite fan pressure.
If you take Lodge, tell me who doesn't have to go to the World Cup, knowing that Lodge is a player who plays behind the striker. I can't go with 26. Who has to go out then? It's very difficult for me to take a player who was never with us and drop a player who was always with us. I think Lodge was once with us. Qualification game for Afghan Ivory Coast in Morocco. And okay, you don't judge him on that, but he was playing good in Pirates. It was very bad in the national team. And maybe that level is maybe a little bit too high for him also. I don't know, maybe.
And New Zealand stalwarts Leah Tahuhu and Sophie Devine will retire from cricket at the end of the T20 World Cup. All-rounder Devine retired from ODIs after last year's 50-over tournament and has represented the White Ferns 310 times in both white ball formats since her debut in 2006. For fast bowler Tahuhu, she's earned more than 200 caps and played a key role in New Zealand's T20 World Cup win back in 2024. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Roads getting busy now. If you're heading south on the N1 in the direction of the Buccleuch interchange, Khomotso Munyai, what are you going to find?
Thank you, John. It's not looking good at all. If you're around Sunning Hill, traffic is heavily backed up on the N1 South. This is due to an accident just at the Buccleuch interchange with delays of around 20 minutes. So if you can, please allow just some extra traveling time if you're headed in that direction. If you're heading towards Bedford View, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 South. It's from Modderfontein Road all the way way to the Galulis interchange. While in Edenvale, the R24 West is still experiencing slight delays towards the Galulis interchange. And in Protea Lane, there's queuing traffic on the N12 as you head towards the R558. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Sandton at Sandton Drive and Mary Avenue, in Fourways at Winnie Mandela and Monte Casino, as well as in Woodmead at Woodmead and Woodlands. Pointsmen are on duty, so no need to worry much. I'll be back with the next updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Let's talk a little bit about football, but not just to talk about football, but in a way it's a conversation about what it is that you actually like about sport. Now, last night, a quite extraordinary match in the first semi-final, first leg, and the first of the two semi-finals in Paris between Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich. It ended 5-4. Tolekele, I don't know if you managed to watch. Some people are saying it's one of the greatest games ever played in this tournament, maybe one of the greatest games ever. But there are a couple of people who are saying, well, actually, yeah, in a way it's nice to see all of those goals. But on the other hand, defending is part of football, and the defending was absolutely rubbish.
John, you're an Arsenal fan.
No,
I just
no,
feel
no,
like
no,
Arsenal fans are the only people that are saying that.
Well, Wayne Rooney is not an Arsenal fan. And Clarence Seedorf, the Dutch and Real Madrid and Ajax great, is not an Arsenal fan either. But I think it's a very interesting question because both of them are saying they probably forgot to defend a little bit, says Wayne Rooney. There's got to be questions asked. The defenders asking questions of the forwards why they're not helping them defend. He talks about immature defending, and Clarence Seedorf makes similar points. What I'm interested to know is, in many ways, is it fair to say that in kind of modern sport, we're very much in highlight mode? Many people watch shortened games and highlights, goals packages on YouTube. They watch them on their phones or whatever. T20 cricket has massively outstripped Test cricket in popularity, and that some of the excitement of a hard-fought, tough game where maybe there's only 3 goals instead of 9, but they're so hard to get. There's something special about it. It's partly a sports question, but I also think it's kind of a question about what we regard as important and what we look forward to when we sit down to watch sport.
I think as a neutral, last night was amazing because you just really saw what it means to each and every player. The fact that this final is in sight and this trophy is within reach. So everybody was just like, no matter what we have to do, we will do it. And it gave us, the spectator, just a chance to enjoy a kind of level of football where I think, I remember this one time we had a talker where you and Jono were like, if you could write an essay, what would it be about? And I was like, how Pep Guardiola has taken the fun out of football. So for me, it was kind of like a throwback to the old UEFA Champions League days where the away goal rule didn't matter. Everybody just was like, we're going to play for 90 minutes. We're not going to be too complicated about our systems. And it was fun. And I also get your point about great defense. But I think that also happens if both teams are contributing, as opposed to we score in the first minutes and then we spend the rest of the 89 minutes defending. That's where you're like, defense doesn't matter. As long as we're entertained and you can say, because I watched the game last night, then I rewatched it again this morning.
Right.
Because I was like, it's just one of those games where there's something that you missed out on, where someone is like, did you notice that? And you're like, no, I was too busy looking at that. So you have to constantly go back and just be like, for 90 minutes, all of us got to... The people that were like pro-defense, they had their arguments. The people who were like pro-attack had their arguments. And if you're Vincent Kompany, you're just sitting there going, why am I not on the touchline? Why do I have to watch this game from up here?
Maybe he was thinking, why am I not in ICU with some of the defending, and at 5-2, he might have thought that. But I'm interested to know, I mean, when you go and watch any kind of sport, do you want it to be close? Do you want it to be tense? I mean, last night was, I guess it wasn't tense for me because I had no particular skin in the outcome and no particular dog in the fight. I mean, I have a slight preference, but it's neither here nor there. But give us your thoughts either as a football fan or maybe you want to just express some views about what we regard as entertainment in general in 2026? And are we missing out on some of the grittier aspects of being entertained by a sports event? I know some of my most enjoyable matches watching the Springboks has been when it's been low scoring, when it's been against the very best opponents, and when it's been close. Those are my ingredients. Rugby matches where there's 5 tries apiece, I'm less excited by. But hey, that's me. What about you? Give me a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 11 minutes to 5.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, if you're up late last night watching football or for whatever matter, up late last night doing anything at all, you may have wanted to start the day with a cup of coffee. Now, a very interesting piece on News 24, great work by Nolutando Ngakani, if you want to read what she's written about it. But it's a story about how South Africa is home to one of the world's rarest species of coffee. I had absolutely no idea that coffee was grown in the coastal forests of KwaZulu-Natal. There are only 15,000 trees that produce a particular kind of coffee called Resamosa. And we're going to talk now to the KZN-born coffee farmer, Charles Dennison, who is producing this coffee. It fetches a very handsome price internationally. Charles, welcome. It's great to have you with us on the show. How did you get into producing this coffee? Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, John. Yes, I studied coffee. I did my master's on coffee, and while I was exploring the continent of Africa, where most of the common coffee, as you know, Arabica coffee and Robusta coffee is found, we read about a unique coffee species that was found in Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. And so with our family, we started to see if we could find some of these trees, and they're super rare. I mean, they still are protected on the IUCN red lists, like black rhino are. So we managed to find a few of these seedlings in nurseries, and we just propagated about 15,000, as you say, over the last 10 years, and we're starting to really get into the farming of it now.
So your operations are in the Hluhluwe area. I mean, how big could you get? 15,000 trees? Is this an operation that becomes 3, 4, 5 times as big at some point?
We're not exactly sure. I mean, it's a very slow-growing tree. It's very hard to propagate, which is why it's so rare in the wild even.
Yes.
At the moment, we have probably about 90% of what exists in Africa. We have 2 farms in Hluhluwe and in Belito. And, yeah, we're trying to grow it. But obviously, at the moment, its value is in its rarity. So there's a trade-off between if we produce a whole lot of it one day, what will its value be, and how viable is it as a product to farm.
What does it taste like? Because I would imagine that some of the appeal and the market appeal is curiosity, and some of it would be someone saying, "Oh, that was delicious. I'd like to get myself some more." Which is it?
Yeah, it's completely different to any coffee I think anybody really would have tasted. It's a totally different species, not just a cultivar varietal. So. I mean, one of the things we get is when people taste it, they either love it or they hate it. Coffee people really enjoy it because it's flavors they've never experienced in a career of coffee or in a lifetime of loving different coffees around the world. It still smells like coffee, it tastes like coffee, but it's got notes on it that are very. There's a strong blackcurrant note. There's also a lot of herb notes, camphor, mint. One of the notes that we've had recently as well is cannabis, especially in the smell. So it's very different to anything, and we like to manage people's expectations before they drink it.
What is your marketing strategy? Are you in relationships with people who, run boutique coffee operations? Are you aiming at particular markets where the price point would be a bit higher? What's your thinking?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, as South Africans, it's hard to afford a coffee like this, so most of it is exported, and last year we sold to 15 different countries, and mostly to the very high-end roasters. We have a good support base in South Africa now with Truth Coffee, who are roasting it and selling it. We had a launch event for Sage with the new coffee equipment that came out, where it was really the first time we got to show South Africans what we're growing on our own soil and what belongs to us as a coffee. So there's still very little known about it in South Africa. Certainly the money is in US dollars and overseas, but we do want people to be able to explore it as well, and hopefully to expand it in South Africa as a crop to farm.
If, as you suggested in your first answer, Charles, that this is indigenous to a particular region of Southern Africa, I would have thought its propensity to be drought resistant and generally hardy, climate change notwithstanding. Is that part of the upside? I realize that's not the reason for the project, but is that a firm plank under your feet at least?
Yeah, absolutely, John. Its genetics are very unique. It grows in an area that has very low rainfall. It has long dry periods. And even in the hot areas of northern KwaZulu-Natal, we get very cold nights where it can get frost. So those are all three things that Arabica cannot handle. So a lot of breeding programs around the world now are looking at Racemosa for these unique tendencies to breed with Arabica. And I think there's a bright future there because of its tolerance.
In terms of the actual taste of it, I mean, you've given a description. If you see someone putting milk into a cup of your coffee, is that considered sacrilegious, or is it like any coffee, have it the way you like it?
Yeah, I would hope to think that we're not being that pretentious about it. You must drink coffee how you like it. However, to really understand it, I think it should be drunk black just to experience it. And not many people have managed to have numerous cups of it because of high cost. I'm wondering what the kind of strategy is in terms of expanding. I mean, and I'm coming back to a point I made earlier. I'm assuming that rarity is a key part of the price point. How much bigger, and maybe this is an evolving strategy rather than a fixed one, but how much bigger would you want to get before you worry that it's too readily available? I mean, I would have thought that point is a long way off. Yeah, I think we're very far from that. I mean, 350 kilograms is what we produced this past year, and that is what a small coffee shop would use in a year. So there's really not a lot of it around. Our plan is to try and see how viable it is as a farming crop and get it out into the rural communities, especially in northern KwaZulu-Natal where it's indigenous, because it doesn't need to be sprayed with any crops or pesticides or herbicides. It's from the area, it's drought tolerant, so it doesn't need irrigation. And there's a good potential to earn good forex income. So one of the things we look at is the rooibos industry, which has been a fantastic part of South Africa's history now. And it allows a lot of people in a big region to support their families. So once we understand this crop more and there's more science done on it, we're hoping to do that.
Thanks so much. It really is fascinating. Charles Dennison is founder of Cultivar Coffee, and they're producing one of the world's rarest coffee, what do I call it? Coffee species. I think that would be the correct word for it. It's called Racemosa, and there's just 15,000 trees that exist worldwide, most of them in either the Hluhluwe or Belito areas of KZN. Anyone ever tasted it or come across it? Give me a call on that on 011-883-0702. Check out Nolutando Ngakani's excellent piece on the same subject. You'll get that on the News 24 site, 3 minutes to 5.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Hello, Uncle John. This is Linda from Soweto. Did you know that coffee originates in Africa, specifically Ethiopia, in a place called Coffee? We didn't trademark it as champagne and France did, but coffee originates here, which means having the rarest trees in the world is not that surprising, really.
Yeah, thanks for that. And as I say, anyone ever taste it, give us a call on that on 011-883-0702.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What is the timeline to actually get these border posts fixed up and ready?
Our estimates are, and obviously this is informed by the companies themselves, some of the smaller ones should be a 2-year construction timeline, the bigger ones 3 years. However, before we get to breaking ground, and our next goal here is to really be able to break ground on the first ones before the end of this year. So there's a lot of groundwork going on behind the scenes. As soon as we're able to break ground, the smaller ones should be 2 years, the bigger ones around 3 years.
Leon Schreiber.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis presents the School of AI, the first of its kind in Africa, powered by 100 world-class AI experts, delivering cutting-edge training, consulting and real-world AI solutions. Regenesis has embedded compulsory AI modules across all their programs and 12 of their schools, from business and law to education and technology. Join the movement now. Enroll at regenesis.net. Regenesis, one institution leading the way.
It's another girl.
Whew. Families multiply, fees shouldn't. With Ultimate Banking, you get support for every chapter. Get discounted banking for your spouse and give each of your children a head start with a Mega U account. Because as your family grows, your banking should keep up. Apply online. Your story matters. ABSA. Terms and conditions apply. ABSA is an authorized financial services provider.
Tired of seeing the same tiles everywhere you look? Charmed Decor is where you'll find something different. We curate high-quality imported tiles and mosaics that transform your space into something truly special. Design-led collections, easy online shopping, and samples delivered straight to you, so you can choose with confidence. Trusted by interior designers, architects, and home renovators. Discover tiles that inspire. Charmed Decor. Visit charmdecor.co.za and order your samples today.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Eyewitness News is brought to you by Momentum. Financial advisors help you have a better shot at generational wealth. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Bellarmine Mugabe deported from South Africa, and Kolega Kalega says corruption suspects are becoming more brazen. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Defense attorney Sinentantla Mnguni has again denied claims that Tobias Matonodze is taking the blame for the son of Zimbabwe's late former president Robert Mugabe. Mnguni, who represents both Bellarmine Mugabe and Matonodze, spoke to journalists outside the Alexandra Magistrates Court today, saying he was pleased with the outcome of the case. Mugabe was deported this afternoon after the case, which involved the shooting of an employee at the Mugabe residence in Hyde Park in February. Matonodze will serve an effective 3-year prison sentence after he pleaded guilty to the more serious charges, including attempted murder, while Mugabe admitted to lesser offences. Mnguni maintains that both the accused fully understood the charges against them.
I think it's an unfair statement to make. I think both accused knew what charges they were facing and they pleaded accordingly in relation thereto.
He has praised the court for what he calls a fair sentence.
We're quite elated with the outcome. We're definitely happy with the outcome. Look, ultimately, there's no winner here. We all know that the allegations against our clients were quite serious, and of course, there was a plea that took place, and of course, a victim at the end of this whole thing. So, yeah, look, ultimately, happy with the outcome as a legal representative, and I think court arrived at a fair sentence.
Protesters who joined a demonstration by civil group March and March have given the Gauteng government 7 days to respond to their demands. The group marched through the streets of Joburg today, calling for stricter measures against illegal immigrants. They gathered at Mary Fitzgerald Square before moving through the inner city and ending their march at the Gauteng legislature. The demonstration by March and March was supported by Action SA and other civic groups. Mongezi Koko reports.
Protesters handed over a memorandum calling for tougher immigration controls, including stricter visa regulations and action against businesses employing undocumented foreign nationals. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi received the memorandum, briefly addressing the crowd before leaving and committing to respond within 7 days. Some protesters claimed undocumented migrants have developed a sense of entitlement.
So the entitlement of these undocumented foreigners, where they are actually selling drugs on the ground and then twist and turn the information.
When I was hijacked
In Taffontein, I lost my ID, I lost my driver's license, and a few years later, I was then married. So it's a personal issue.
With the crowd now dispersed, organisers say their next focus will shift to the Western Cape as the movement continues to build momentum nationwide. Monke Ziko, Eyewitness News.
Public Protector Koleka Kalega says corruption suspects are becoming increasingly brazen, even threatening investigators. She says her office has been forced to beef up security and conduct threat assessments following a rise in threats. Kalega was briefing Parliament's Justice Committee about the entity's annual performance plan as well as the budget. Babalondenze reports.
Koleka Kalega says they've seen an improvement in their investigating capacity and are even investigating matters referred to her office by the Auditor General. She says funds from the Criminal Assets Recovery account are also helping source experts and balance their funding. But she says the investigators are now facing more threats.
I just want to make this point. With all these cases that we've mentioned here that we are investigating, I must mention that there's also an increasing threat to our investigators who are actually investigating.
Kalega says they've been forced to beef up security.
Those who are committing corruption are actually becoming more brazen. So we even have to increase the security at our offices and do assessments on individual investigators.
Kalega also noted that they've seen a recurrence in terms of offences and how new administrations merely continue the pattern. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
And King Charles III is expected to attend a wreath-laying ceremony at the 9/11 Memorial in New York City this afternoon. This marks the third day of a 4-day state visit focused on healing strained ties between Britain and the United States. His New York leg will see the royals meet first responders and victims' families in Manhattan as they mark 25 years since the September 11th, 2001 attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people. Charles's final engagement will celebrate the work of his youth charity, the King's Trust, at a reception that will also spotlight British as well as American cultural industries. Gold is trading at $4,553.89 an ounce. The rand is at 16.61 to the dollar, 22.43 to the pound, 19.48 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $114.46 a barrel.
In the traffic, expect some peak time congestion on the M1 South from Oxford Road through to the Crown Interchange, and in Alberton, there's traffic pressure on the N12 West. This is between the Elands Interchange and Voortrekker Road.
In your sport, Miguel Cardoso sets 5 from 5 target for Mamelodi Sundowns as they look to retain the Betway Premiership title. Real Zaragoza goalkeeper gets 13-game ban after punching an opponent. And Hailey Baptiste stuns world number 1 Irina Sabalenka in the quarterfinals of the Madrid Open.
A cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 8 degrees, peaking at 18. Pretoria 9 and 21 and Vereeniging 6 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Defence Attorney Sinenhlanhla Mnguni has again denied claims that Tobias Matonodze is taking the blame for the son of Zimbabwe's late former president, Robert Mugabe.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Welcome to the show. In a moment, we'll be in conversation with Jacinta Ngobesi Zuma, who is a leader of the organization March and March. Twice this week in Gauteng. They've led marches on government institutions, firstly to the union buildings, today to the Gauteng provincial legislature, demanding a much stricter enforcement of procedures and laws against illegal immigrants. That's coming up in a moment. Later, Stadium Management South Africa have come out to say that criticism of the way the Soweto derby was handled on Sunday has been unbalanced and ignores key facts. Bertie Grobela, CEO of Stadium Management South Africa, joins us for that at about 20 minutes past 5. We'll bring you the traffic. We will update you on what's happening in the world of business. All that coming up on 702 Drive.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's get to that interview, though, in regard to the March and March. And we welcome to the show March and March leader Jacinta Ngobisi Zuma. Very good afternoon to Ms. Ngobisi Zuma, and thanks for giving us your time. You've given the Gauteng government 7 days to respond. What exactly do you expect them to be able to do in 7 days? What for you would constitute a sufficient response? Good afternoon to you.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I think for us, it's really just knowing what the plans are and the plans that are within the law, of course, because what we've seen in Johannesburg is something really so scary. All the buildings have look like they've been hijacked, and the businesses are owned by foreign nationals. And we know that our law does not allow this to happen the way that it's happening right now. There's certain documentation, there's certain compliance issues that need to happen. And Johannesburg is the hub of the economy of South Africa. And we cannot continue to have it in the state that it is. It is filthy. It is unmanageable. There's people walking around brazenly. And, you know, I'm from KZN Durban, and I didn't know that Johannesburg had deteriorated to this level, and it's really quite sad.
You're not surely, though, saying that whatever contribution unchecked and illegal immigration may have made to that, you surely acknowledge that Joburg has other problems as well.
Look, John, I don't want us to keep deflecting on issues, because I'm talking about the issue that we're there for.
Yes.
And we even have met people who are doing research on the city. They were there with us today, giving us statistics on a number of things, from the buildings to the shops to all of that. And we're talking on that core issue alone, and that is what our demands are based on. We're obviously not saying that there aren't any other issues, but we're saying the core issue that we're focusing on is specifically this.
Are you not concerned, though, that politicians who themselves have been responsible for the failure to implement the laws that you say should be implemented more tightly are going to stand up, say they support you, say they agree with you, and actually may well see this as a possible way of getting themselves votes without addressing their contribution to the problems we face?
Look, I think there's no politician that we are not going to be holding accountable, whether they support us or don't support us, whether in words or in action. Because at the end of the day, we are a citizen-led movement that's not a political party, that's pushing for politicians to be more accountable to the people. And all the political parties that have aligned themselves with our call on illegal immigrants know very well that we've made it clear that even if they don't do what they're promising the people, we will be the first people to call them out. And we will do so with immediate effect. So we're ready, and we can't say that political parties must not join, because remember,
Yes.
They're the people that sit in parliament. They're the ones that are there to shape policy and assist with decision making. So that is the key reason why we asked them to join in alignment with the issue on illegal immigrants.
If we were, as a country, Ms. Ngobisi Zuma, successfully able to crack down on illegal immigrants, what is March and March's view of the contribution that, or not, in your view, that immigrants who've come here, settled, done so legally, the contribution they can and do make to the country? Do you accept they have a place and a role?
Like, immigration is normal. It's a normal thing that happens all across the world. We'd be very ignorant to say that all immigrants are the same. But our issue is mainly on illegal immigrants and also on foreign nationals who have been buying documents to be in this country. Because remember, immigration is a process. You can't just come into a country and then become documented. It doesn't
Yes.
work like that. The reason why there's immigration processes is that it gives the country that's going to be hosting you an opportunity to do a background check on who you are and what exactly you're coming to do in the country. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So that's why we end up having people on Interpol here, where we have gangs called Black X thriving in South Africa, because nobody takes the responsibility of making sure that our immigration laws are strict and that our country is safe from people from outside who could even be here infiltrating the country.
In terms of why we've reached the situation you believe we have, what do you see as the key problems? I mean, nothing's going to get fixed quickly. If you were to point to a place that government needs to start, and perhaps your memorandum to government, both national and provincial, has set this out. But I mean, what are the key things that you think need doing first?
I think for us, the major problem is with the politicians themselves, because many of them are involved in ensuring that illegal immigration thrives because they're making money out of it. And some of them are even using the issue as a means to get more money, because the more people and the more problems that are there, the more money that you need from the states. And we know that South Africans have also played a role in harboring and aiding and abetting illegal immigrants. So we're also calling out South Africans themselves. And it's a situation where even Home Affairs officials have decided to auction our documents, because there's a thing with South Africans who don't understand how much of a security threat it is to keep allowing people that you don't know into the country. And they're selling off this country as if it's got no value. And that's why we want to restore the dignity of this country.
And I'm just keen to know, because you mentioned Home Affairs. I mean, Home Affairs talks about deportation numbers being up, successes achieved by the Border Management Authority, a significant number of arrests and prosecutions around what you've just referred to, Ms. Ngobesi Zuma, about selling of documents and illegal access to South African papers. Do you regard Home Affairs as moving in the right direction?
Well, I wouldn't fault Home Affairs, because, I mean, even us, we are in constant communication with Home Affairs. When we send them complaints and concerns, they respond swiftly. And I'm very happy with the fact that they have allowed themselves to actually listen to the concerns of the people. Unfortunately, the problem is that they found or the current system that they're trying to solve is something that's been ongoing for years. So it's going to be difficult to solve overnight, and that we understand. But that's why we're calling for government to put in more money to Home Affairs to ensure that they're able to use as much resources as possible. Because currently our country is only functional 25% at the border. That means 75% of our country is exposed to outside and external forces that can take over at any time.
Jacinta Ngobesi Zuma, March and March leader, thanks for giving us your time on 702 Drive. Your thoughts, 072 702 1702, 16 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. How are we looking so far? It was getting a little jammed up around Buccleuch. I don't know if that's still a problem.
Thank you, John. No, fortunately, Buccleuch seems to be easing up, but in Centurion, there has been an accident on the N1 North at Samrand Avenue, and it is causing heavy delays. I would suggest that maybe as an alternative, you may consider using the R101 or the Olifantsfontein Road just to get around that congestion, because I do think as time goes by, it will be really backed up. In Alberton, there's still some traffic pressure on the N12 between the Elands interchange and Voortrekker Road. And if you are on the M1 South, there's some slow-moving traffic. This is from Oxford Road to the Crown interchange. In Protea Glen, things are still slow down things are slow moving, that is, on the N12. This is as you approach the R558. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Melrose at the M1 North and Collet, in Edenvale at Modderfontein and Van Riebeek, as well as in Kyalami at the R55 and Main. Traffic lights are also out in the city of Tshwane in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Parkfontein, as well as in Monument Park at the R21 and Solomon Mahlangu Drive. I'll have more updates in just a bit.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Sitting in a traffic jam is as fun as getting the last trolley with a squeaky, wobbly wheel. Why today? But fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are on the roads, easing traffic congestion so everyone gets where they need to be quickly and safely. For the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. Licensed insurer and FSP.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSE, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
19 past 5. Let's return then to a story we discussed quite a lot on Monday. We spoke about the derby on the field, obviously. Chiefs versus Pirates and the football. We had some conversation about the fights that broke out on the field before the game even started. Then we had quite a lot of people expressing their concerns about what they felt was an insufficient level of organisation on the day. Now, a lot has been said. In response, Stadium Management South Africa has come out with a media statement, not just expressing their views, but all of the activities on the Sunday were coordinated by something called the Event Safety and Security Planning Committee, which would have had a number of stakeholders involved. But let's speak to Stadium Management South Africa and welcome to the show CEO Bertie Grobler. Mr. Grobler, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time. One of the concerns that often gets expressed at the derby is the question of how many people actually manage to get into the ground. You say in your statement that was issued, the ESSPC also notes attempts to question the integrity of attendance figures. You're pretty confident from what you say in that paragraph that the figures you put out are accurate. Tell us why you are confident, because invariably there are pictures of people being somewhat squashed.
Good afternoon, John, and to your listeners as well. Why I'm confident in saying that is we've got access counting system separate from the actual scanning numbers that's installed at the turnstiles with cameras and the AI-based system that gives you the live numbers in the VOC. And it is calibrated before the event. And I haven't received the calibration certificate after the event. I was hoping to have it by now. But yeah, that is, it's independently verified. Now, you will recall, and I'm on record in disclosing with the previous derby, that there was 101,000 people inside the venue.
Yes.
And I'm pretty confident if it's not 88,120, a small variation to that number. What you also need to take into account is if you have a look at on some of the video footage on social media and some of the pictures as well, on level 5, there's empty seats. And we know that, and on the hospitality level as well, there's a lot of people migrating to the bottom level.
Right.
And it is a struggle, I must admit. I think all the role players got it better this time. I said to somebody earlier today, on the eastern stand, you can, for the first time since I've been involved, you can see 3.5 staircases. So and it's not running away. 88,000 or 89,000 is still about 3,000 over capacity, but it's a move in the right direction.
So I want...
And hopefully, sorry.
No, finish that thought and then I'll ask my next question.
Hopefully this is the start of moving to football, also adopting the approach of ticket per seat, or seat number, a dedicated seat.
Yes.
Currently you buy per level, but there's not a dedicated seat per ticket, and hopefully this is a move in the right direction.
You say in your statement that there were isolated but serious incidents of non-compliance by security and access control personnel, and you referred to a number of incidents. Bribery to facilitate access for unticketed individuals, the unlawful opening of emergency gates, which I would have thought would be the most alarming of those, and the unauthorized sale or misuse of verification passes. To what extent have you managed to identify the individuals responsible for that? And for example, will you prosecute them criminally?
John, from the venue side, we've identified two of the persons involved with the verification passes. They spent the night in jail, and this morning we confirmed that there's a date for them to appear again. So from a venue side, we're very serious to enforce this. And if I can give you some background to the seriousness of this, the SASRA Act, Safety at Sports and Recreational Events Act, was promulgated just after 2010.
Right.
To date, I know of no conviction of any contravention of that act, and it's a disgrace, and that is why things get out of hand, because people get away with contravening the act and its regulations.
Is one of the problem? Well, let me ask the question a different way, Mr. Grobela. You have plans, you have intentions, you clearly analyze the previous derby and you try and do better on this one, and the next time the two giants play, or there's an equivalent fixture, maybe Bafana, doesn't matter who it is, you look to take the learnings from Sunday and carry them forward. But if you look at the skills level of the people on the ground who have to implement the plan, out of 100, where would you say those skill levels are at the moment? Because presumably the plan is only as good as the problem-solving ability and integrity of the people implementing it.
I think we've got very good people, knowledgeable and with expertise in the management. Well, let's start off with the planning processes.
Yes.
And the execution of those plans. From a management perspective and a control perspective. I agree, and I'm not talking after what you're saying, but I just got out of a meeting with the very same discussion, where there's certain deployment points where we need to beef up and where you need to get more expertise. And you referred to the emergency gates.
Right.
That is one area that my discussion was about, that you need people that yes, it's a strong word, trust, but people
Yes.
with the expertise to deal with situations like that. And I promise you the derby is a beast
Yes.
of a different nature. Now, I think we mentioned it in that collective statement from the ESSPC. With the derby in February, we had between 20 and 30,000 people, and I'm not lying to you, we can verify that.
Right.
Well, not to the T, but people in the precinct without tickets.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest single problem with the derby, is people arriving in the precinct and then at a certain point trying to force their way into the venue, either by way of a fake ticket or just physically bunching and forcing their way through the scanning points. Now, you need to get the people out of the precinct, those unticketed people. And there was a very good plan designed and implemented on Sunday, where the checkpoints were further away.
Right.
So people arriving in a vehicle were checked at these road closures by JMPD security personnel assisted by the police, whether they had tickets in their possession, match tickets. Unfortunately, at one point, that process got overwhelmed again by those individuals without tickets, then blocking these access points.
Yeah.
Where the BOC had to make a decision, what we call to flush those points. So we again had unticketed individuals in the precinct, but I believe a lot less, and that is why we were able to control the stadium capacity to the extent it was.
Thank you so much. I mean, it really is a little window into what you have to do on the day. And I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that the criticisms raised are now all of a sudden invalidated, because there's a lot, much more we need to talk about. But I can imagine that situation of large numbers of people physically forcing their way into what you had designed in your plan as a sealed off area is a very, very difficult thing to control, because any extreme steps you might take or any kind of physical intervention may well lead to the kind of chaos and crush, which is precisely what you're trying to avoid. Give us your thoughts. I mean, we heard from Rams Mabote on Monday. We heard from various of you calling in, or either calling in or sending us your thoughts via WhatsApp text. Now you've heard from Bertie Grobler. Any revisions in your views about how we control the huge crowds that come to attend what Mr. Grobler described as a beast of a fixture? Of course, it's also the greatest fixture on the South African football calendar, so the pressure to get it right is huge. 29 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you once again. Markets have closed. Money show is warming up. Over to you.
Unfortunately, so is the oil price, John.
Heading
to
Stop
$100. I know. Heading to $120. I mean, I'll sing a little song for you if you like. It's $117.53 a barrel, John.
Yeah.
And I think this is just on, I hate to say this, but I think reality is beginning to catch up with the market a little bit. I'm not an expert on this, but I say that because actually oil's been underpriced if you consider what the predictions are for what's going to happen.
Yes.
The Strait of Hormuz is not going to open easily. Reuters is suggesting today there's no single authority in Iran anymore. And so if that's the case, then there's not going to be a permanent ceasefire or a permanent end to this. And then no one knows what's going to happen to the Strait of Hormuz. And unless you're a Russian super yacht, you're not going to get through. One did yesterday, strangely.
Goodness.
So this is the situation that we're in. That's pushed the JSE All-Share down 0.47, 113,866 points. Financials down 0.46, Industrials up 0.45, and Resources feeling the pain. They're down 1.5%. That's because gold and platinum prices are down again. Some winners, of course, John. Sasol up 4.83. Also Tungela up 3.26 on the day, and Glencore up over 2%. And then Telkom up nearly 4%, and MTN up 2.271. Mondi recovering a little bit. They're up 3.28, and another good day for Grinnell up 3.64. The platinum miners and the gold miners really taking the hit. Northam down over nearly 5.5. Valterra down over 4. Pan-African Resources down 3.57. Harmony down 2.88. Spar also down. They're down 2.5% on the day. Surprise. Would you believe me, John, if I told you Gerry Fourie, the former CEO at Capitec,
yes,
has become a board member of which bank?
Time?
Capitec.
Oh, who'd have thought? I thought it was a trick question.
No, he served his mandatory 1-year cooling off period. He'll become a board member from the 1st of August. I could probably have written that story about a year ago. Astral Foods reporting they believe their headline earnings per share will be up by around 400% for the 6 months to the end of March. Had previously said market conditions were favorable, so protein prices are up and grain prices are down. That's why that's happened. In the US, market's a little mixed. So there are a lot of technology earnings coming through today. I think it's Meta, Alphabet, a whole herd of them. And at the same time, there's an interest rate announcement later, and Powell will be speaking. The Dow Jones is down 0.58. The Nasdaq is sort of flat. The S&P 500 is down 0.09 on the day so far. The gold price, I don't know if I want to tell you. It's 117,053. Gold, $4,542.47. Platinum, $1,897.20. The rand to the dollar, 16.74 to the euro, 19.57 to the British pound, 22.58. On the Money Show tonight, John, we'll be speaking to the World Gold Council about gold prices. The fact that there's actually still more demand for gold than there was, even though the price is a little bit lower. We'll be talking as well this evening about the UAE and just the longer term consequences for oil, because they left OPEC yesterday. Some suggestions that richer people, they are buying a pad in Cape Town, but they're not actually selling the house here. They're keeping it in Joburg. And so we'll investigate that as well. Stephen Grootes, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. The oil price. Dear me, it really keeps going up and up. 27 minutes to 6, as I said, the latest news. And Bali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Residents of the Joburg CBD who have been without electricity will have to endure yet another day in the dark, with power only expected to be restored tomorrow. City power technicians are still working to restore electricity to parts of the inner city that have been without supply since Saturday. The central substation recently caught fire and left Marshalltown and surrounding areas in the dark. Alfara Mushwana reports.
While conducting repairs, City Power teams say they also discovered that crucial electrical components from overhead power lines were stolen. In recent years, Johannesburg CBD has fallen victim to multiple power outages, which were caused by theft and vandalism of infrastructure. City Power says overhead power lines running through the inner city were damaged despite carrying high voltage. The utility is currently working to replace both stolen and damaged components. However, the repairs are expected to delay the restoration of power, which is now only likely to be restored by 8 p.m. tomorrow. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Former Police Minister Bheki Cele is set to make a political comeback in his home region of eThekwini as the ANC beefs up its KZN structures ahead of the local government elections. Last week, the party announced changes to its provincial task team appointed last year, creating significant changes in its structures across KZN. Today, new additional members appointed to the PTT cut the number of the previous structure in half. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports from Durban.
The ANC says following internal assessments, it had no option but to make changes within provincial and regional task teams in the province. Its secretariat is in the province for the next 2 days to implement the recent changes. Party Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mukonyane explains.
We've reinforced also the capacity in KwaZulu-Natal with NEC members who are resident and NEC members who are also public representatives. Because part of what we want to focus on is supporting our organizational work with fixing local government and transforming the economy.
These senior leaders will include Bheki Cele, who will be deployed to oversee the party's biggest region in the country, eThekwini. Tomorrow, the party will announce new regional task teams for all 11 regions in KZN. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And in China, government has announced plans to ban the sale of drones in Beijing, citing safety concerns. Going forward, users will need to apply for permission for all flights in the capital under strict regulations. The new regulations will come into effect on Friday. Drone users in the city will have 3 months after the new rules kick in to register their devices with local police stations. Drone storage rules will also be tightened, with individuals allowed to keep at most 3 drones at a single location within Beijing's 6th Ring Road. National laws have also been tightened this year in China, with illegal drone flights now punishable by up to 15 days detention. A cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Lows of between 6 and 9 degrees and highs of between 18 and 21.
In the traffic in Kempton Park, traffic is congested on the R24 East. This is due to an accident just before Isando Road. And in Alberton, there's still slow-moving traffic on the N12 West between the Elands Interchange and Voortrekker Road.
The top story in EWN, residents of the Joburg CBD who have been without electricity will have to endure yet another day in the dark, with power only expected to be restored tomorrow.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What is the timeline to actually get these border posts fixed up and ready?
Our estimates are, and obviously this is informed by the companies themselves, some of the smaller ones should be a 2-year construction timeline, the bigger ones 3 years. However, before we get to breaking ground, and our next goal here is to really be able to break ground on the first ones before the end of this year. So there's a lot of groundwork going on behind the scenes. As soon as we're able to break ground, the smaller ones should be 2 years, the bigger ones around 3 years.
Leon Schreiber.
The Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an unmistakable rhythm that brings us all together. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi Majozi to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Joburg CBD. We want you to join us and be a part of something special. Entries open soon. In the meantime, stay tuned to 702 and get ready for the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. More on primemediaplus.com.
Welcome to Harold's Mother's Day Hotline, brought to you by Net Florist. We've got Mbali on the line.
Hi, Harold. Things are a bit tense with my mother-in-law.
Tension and mothers are my specialty.
We were arguing, and she said if we were married, she would poison my coffee.
Mama Minnie, what does one say to that?
I told her if we were married, I'd drink it.
Wax my sack, we have a winner. This Mother's Day, go to Net Florist and get her a beautiful bouquet and a personalised luxury gown. Order before 6 May and get some Friedland chockies.
That should work. But what if it doesn't?
Drink the coffee. Net Florist. That's easy to show you.
It's that time of the year. Sore throats, congestion, wet and dry coughs, pain and fever. For trusted relief for you and your family, ask your pharmacist to recommend a winter survival pack from the Adcock Ingram OTC range. With products like Medikil A, Expigen, Corenza Parac, Adco Napamol, Dilinct Junior and more, we have you covered this winter. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, good afternoon. Look, with this issue of illegal immigration, if we do not keep our systems accountable, especially the policing, my biggest problem is the policing. Our police officers are corrupt. I stay in President Park. I see this every week where a truck will come and park, and when they arrest people without documentation, they will pay 500 rands or 1,000 rands and they let them go. So until we deal with this corrupt police, until our system is run smoothly by people who have South Africa's best interest at heart, we are going to struggle with this illegal immigration issue. It's a huge problem in South Africa and it must be dealt with very quickly.
Good afternoon, John. Please give that Ms. Zuma from March and March a bells. She deserves a whole crate of bells. Nicholas, Florida.
Hi, John and Tim. With regards to the issue of illegal immigration, and I think Zuma and Ngobese, they explained it so well that we're dealing with issues for many years of the system that has been corrupted to the core. So it will take time for some of these things to be fixed. But at the very same time, the issue of illegal immigration it's out of control. Because, I mean, we don't even know how many people are in this country right now. And it's supposed to be saved from the same number of people that we assume that are here, ordinary South Africans and people who are here illegally. Thanks, John.
702 Drive, thank you for your feedback and comment on the issues we've been raising. Keep those comments coming, please, on 072 702 1702. Still to come on the show, we'll get sport from Tolakele Mganga, looking ahead to some big games in the Betway Premiership. There's a Champions League semi-final as well. And then, of course, there is traffic. Hopefully not too much. However much there is, we'll tell you where all the difficulties are. And then we're going to end the show as we always do by playing some music. Now, I have a section in my Spotify library, if that's the right thing to call it. I think they call it a library, called the 3-Minute Pop Song. And that's a reflection of the fact that so much popular music and hit songs that we sing and hum, and maybe some people even have as ringtones, tend to be between 3 to 4 minutes. They're very seldom longer than that. But in the realm of popular music, and I'm not talking now about jazz and opera and classical music or operettas or anything like that. I'm talking about popular music. There are some songs that go on for a long, long time. 7 minutes, 8 minutes, some of them go up to 15 minutes. What is your favorite long song in the realm of popular music? And you do not mind at all how long it is. This was one that a lot of people liked, around 16 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Donna Summer. Many of you will recognize that. Some of you may not know it, but may decide to go and have a look for it on the internet. But we want your song, one that goes on a long, long time, but you loved that song nonetheless, even if you couldn't sing along to every word because, things would happen. You might have to go to work, put on the kettle, and so on. 16 minutes now to 6.
EWN Sport.
Right, let's get the very latest from the world of sports. Sundowns are in action, so are Chiefs, so are Arsenal and Atletico Madrid, and they're busy with punching goalkeepers as well. Tola Kele has all of that and more. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And Miguel Cardoso has targeted 5 wins from Mamelodi Sundowns' 5 remaining Betway Premiership games as they look to retain the title. The first of those encounters will be tonight's clash against Polokwane City, where they're looking to bounce back from drawing their last 2 games. 3 points for the Brazilians tonight would see them ascend to the summit of the standings. 2 points clear of Orlando Pirates with 4 games of the campaign left.
We should have taken the opportunity in hand and scored the points we needed to go ahead. But look, there's 5 matches to be played, 2 in a row with Polokwane, then we have Chiefs, then we have Solo Siwalele, and then we have Galaxy in the end. I think we have all the conditions to win all the matches, we just need to do it. We lost 2 opportunities, we lost 4 points in the last 2 matches after having 10 or 11 victories in a row. It's obviously not a performance that will allow us to take the championship if we don't turn it around. So 5 matches, 5 victories, that's what we need to do.
Kaizer Chiefs face Siwelele, eager to win and consolidate their 3rd place position in the standings. Khalil Ben Youssef's Amakosi are currently on a 7-game unbeaten streak, which includes 5 wins and 2 draws.
There is no team in the world that's when he make a lot of rotation or a lot of substitution, he can keep the performance. This last couple of games, 7 or 6 games, I think it's the same squad he's playing, and you saw that the performance is here and the result is here. The most important thing for us, still 6 or 5 games. We have to continue to fight. We have to continue to believe that we can reach the best position, and then we will see in the end of the season which position will be, inshallah.
With just 43 days left until the 2026 FIFA World Cup kicks off, Hugo Broos has backed Bafana to progress out of their group and produce a special campaign. South Africa face co-host Mexico on June 11 as they return to the global showpiece event for the first time since hosting it back in 2010.
But more and more, I start believing that we can do something, that we can win points that give us a second round. I'm more and more convinced. I will try to convince the player also, and I don't think I will have much work to do that, because I know the guys will come on the 25th of May motivated from head to toe. There is something possible. We can make it very beautiful.
Arsenal are away to Atletico Madrid in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League semi-final tonight. In the league phase earlier this season, the Gunners ran out 4-0 winners, but this time around, Mikel Arteta is anticipating a tougher challenge.
A really tough match, a team that has managed so much experience in the competition that they have every right to be here, because what they've done, again, is remarkable. We know the difficulty of the match, but I think we have shown in Europe, in any ground, what we are capable of. We've been very consistent, and tomorrow we have to play with that confidence, with that desire and that will, to come here to win the game.
The Spanish Football Federation have banned Real Zaragoza goalkeeper Esteban Andrada for 13 matches. That's after he punched Hesqua's Jorge Peluda in the face. Andrada was issued a 12-match ban for the punch itself, while his initial red card carries an automatic 1-match ban, ruling him out for the rest of the season as it deals a blow to Zaragoza's hopes in their battle to avoid relegation. And Hailey Baptiste saves 6 match points as she stunned world number 1 and defending champion Irina Sabalenka. That's in the quarterfinals of the Madrid Open. Baptiste's 2-6, 6-2 and 7-6 win ended Sabalenka's 15-match winning streak as she became just the second player after Elena Rybakina at the Australian Open final to defeat the Belarusian this season. Tola Gilimganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic at 12 minutes to 6 is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Khumotso, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, John. We'll start in the east of Johannesburg. If you are heading towards Bedford View, you can expect some peak time delays on the N3 South from Marlborough Drive through to the Galulis interchange. And in Kempton Park, traffic is congested on the R24 East. This is due to an accident just before Isando Road. Over in Centurion, that accident on the N1 South at Samrand Avenue is still causing heavy delays. And like I said earlier, you may want to consider using the R101 as an alternative or some of the local routes like Olifantsfontein Road to get to where you are going. The M1 South is also still experiencing some peak time delays from Oxford Road through to the Crown interchange. Look out for 40 traffic lights and Midrand at Olifantsfontein and Old Pretoria, and Kyalami at the R55 in Kenilworth, and in the capital city traffic lights are also out in Garsfontein at the N1 and Garsfontein. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 52. Did the kids actually do their holiday homework, or are they going to make it my homework? Oh, the drama. Well, with the Outsurance Pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance Pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Popular songs that go longer than the normal pop song hit formula of 3 to 4 minutes. We've got a suggestion of Thriller by Michael Jackson, 13 minutes, 42 seconds. Soraya's mind goes to Bohemian Rhapsody, but we've got a suggestion coming from out of the team. Khumotso?
Yes,
You've
John.
got a long song in mind.
I do.
We'll get it started now because we're not going to be able to do all of it. Who's the singer? What's the song?
Released in 2010 from his album called My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, it has to be no one other than, I don't know if I can call him the great now because he misbehaves a lot, but Kanye West. I think this has to be one of his greatest, most memorable compositions. It's Runaway.
How long is it?
About 8 minutes, 50 seconds. Yeah, it's pretty long.
Let's get started. We'll do a chunk of Kanye with Runaway, and then your suggestion, please. Songs that go for a long, long, long time, way past the pop song limit of 4 minutes.
Let's have a toast for the douchebags. Let's have a toast for the Let's have a toast for the scumbags. Every one of them that I know. Let's have a toast for the jerk-offs that'll never take work off. Baby, I got a plan. Run away fast as you can. Find pictures in my email. I sent this girl a picture of my hey. I don't know what it is with females, but I'm not too good at that. See, I can have me a good girl and still be addicted to them hooks.
Kanye featuring Pusha T. That's Runaway from 2010. Your long song, please.
Always find, yeah, always find, yeah, always find something.
The Aubrey Masangu Show on 702.
I cover on my show issues of advisory, whether it is legal matters, whether it is financial matters. I cover day-to-day issues as far as current affairs are concerned. I cover the politics of the day and how we as South Africans are interpreting them. My listener is a curious 702 lander. They want to know what are the backstories, the stories behind what we are hearing on the airwaves. They want to understand what drives the different issues that have us talking. What I love about the 702 family and 702 Land is the fact that we have 702 landers who are responsive, who are present, who care about their communities and who want to know how they can be a part of the process of making our areas better, but also our country better. And that for me is a great privilege. I am totally indebted to the providence out there to be talking to these people on a daily basis.
The Aubrey Masangu Show, weekdays from 8 to midnight.
You may or may not know the difference between gelato and ice cream, but you do know a great OUTsurance deal when you see one. Get a car insurance quote now, and if OUTsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS OUT to 45142. That's out to 45142. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The Checkers Hyper price drop is back. Save up to 40% on Clover Fresh Milk 2 litres, any 2 for 59 Rand. Nescafe Gold Instant Coffee, 200 grams, any 2 for 279 Rand. And Baby Soft 2-ply toilet rolls, 24-pack, 2 for 299 Rand. Save 100 Rand. Plus, stand to win a Toyota Hilux when you spend 500 Rand or more and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until 10 May, only at Checkers Hyper. T&Cs apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hey, Ndade John and team. The song I'm thinking of, which is quite long, is End of the Road Medley by Gladys Knight. And in brackets, I think it says, if you don't know me by now. Zwandile the Hill, Joburg South.
Hi, John. My favorite long song is Peter Frampton's Do You Feel Like We Do? Still gets the job done when the drive is long.
Peter Frampton from 1973. That was actually a big album when I was in matric, even though that was 3 years later. Craig says the reason songs were 3 minutes was because they could fit on a 45 RPM record. Also points to a song, which is a long one, Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie, was 18 minutes long. How about this from Badimo? Says, Fela Kuti, the song Teacher Don't Teach Me Nonsense. It runs for over 25 minutes. We're probably not going to be able to fit that one in. But thank you, Badimo. I'll check it out.
John, Barbara Streisand, Make It Like a Memory.
Didn't I like to hold you in my hand?
I was doing you no harm. I made you understand. All my life I've been that way. It happened long ago. Didn't I pray to love you through the night? I was dreaming wide awake.
Barbara Streisand there, off her album Guilty, which was produced by Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees, interestingly enough. Couple of other long songs. Baker Ibrahim says, long song, Get Ready by Rare Earth. Ria, how about the Sunscreen song by Baz Luhrmann, released in 1997. Radar Love, that's a song I also knew well from my teens, says Andy, by Golden Earring from the 70s. 6.5 minutes, 30 seconds short of the 7-minute mark, Andy, that we set, but a great song and a great memory, so thanks. I thought I'd include it anyway. The Crown by Gary Bird, Gavin says, is 10 minutes long. Christina goes for a real old classic, Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. I can't remember the name of the movie that had a guitar shop with a sign. You were allowed to play the guitar, but they said, no, Stairway to Heaven. Roger, American Pie is a lovely old long song. I don't know how many minutes. We'll track that for you, but it is long indeed. Matt, Pink Floyd says Pink Floyd had some long songs indeed. Kolofelo wants us to enjoy this very, very extended version of the best of Barry White. Take a listen.
As the world turns from day to day, as we live, we have to make decisions. And when we make those decisions, things don't always turn out the way we'd like them to, or the way we want them to. No matter what we feel or what seems real, things change. We don't have a crystal ball to look into, to know what our future is gonna be or what it's gonna be. You meet someone, you care for that someone, and you love that one. We made plans and we planned for so many things. Life has always been that way.
Barry White from 1994. Someone asked about American Pie, how long it was. 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Why am I telling you this? It held the record for the longest song to reach number one on the Billboard Hot 100. Thereby proving my point. The best pop songs, 3 to 4 minutes. Not so for American Pie. Thanks so much for joining us. And Barry White and all the rest of the crew will be back with 702 Drive at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
And now, The Money Show
with Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app
and DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Corporate, an investment banking engineered for how Africa trades. That's how invested Absa is in your story. Good evening. On your Money Show tonight, more evidence demand for gold still going up despite the price dropping a bit as investors head for the dollar as oil prices head towards $120, while the UAE has decided to leave OPEC and the world is considering life with less fuel. We investigate how the rich are buying a pad in Cape Town but keeping the mansion in Joburg. Edelman Research says customers now expect CEOs to try and bridge divides in our society. And your shapeshifter this evening, the world of men's fashion. Ari Fabian will talk to you tonight about the vocabulary of men's clothing, running brands in South Africa, and his luxury brand, Egg. All of that to come, but first, the very latest